Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, whichever part of the world you are right now. And we are going to rewatch together the British Gymnastics 2025. This happened March 21, 2025. This men's all-around finals. So there were 3 days event, March 21, 22, and 23. So this men's all-around happened last March 21, 2025. We have here Jake German and all uh, the new men's gymnasts in the British, which are very promising to be the next elite gymnast of the Great Britain in this coming Olympics rotation. I say, yeah, Olympic season. So they have a 4 years length of time to prepare themselves to build to build more difficulties. And in this current events or this current gymnastics, we will be having, or the men's will be having, eight difficulty skills in each apparatuses to lessen the burden or the fatigue of the men's gymnast in their muscles, of course. Yeah, so that the gymnast can have more longevity in the said career, because the men's gymnastics skills are keep on building and building and building. So to avoid those injuries, the FIG is just they just decided to lessen the difficulty. So subscribe, like, and share to this channel. Thank you very much. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. And ngayon, we are going to watch the British Gymnastics. That's Jake Jarman. British Gymnastics 2025. Ito na yung simula ng Olympic cycle for 4 years. So again, magasalita ako dito ng Tagalog kasi they're speaking in English. So I'll speak here in Tagalog or in Filipino. That's Jake Jarman, nakita nyo naman. This is the men's all-around finals. Yeah, this happened last this March 23, 2025. So, kaunti lang na background dito, the gymnast will be doing an 8 difficulties, not anymore 10. So, the same as with the juniors, they are doing an 8 difficulties. So, it's up to the gymnast to make a difficulty for 8 in order to have a good score.
Hopefully make a final tomorrow.
Jake Jarman doing a warm-up in the Pommel horse for the finals. Oh, there is an Irish gymnast watching.
It's the time, isn't it, to test out those new skills, to try and push the difficulty. They're going to be building these routines over the next few years to
so ang mga gymnasts ay kailangan mag-build ng difficulties for the 8. Mapractice nila yun, nagkamahasa sila sa 8 difficulties para magamit nila for the next Olympics.
And these are now the opportunities to get an opportunity to compete in front of a packed out crowd, those high pressurized environments.
So this is a replay. We are just rewatching it, and I'm recasting it. It's Chris RD Gymnastics. Please subscribe, like, and share this channel. Thank you very much. You can also be a member in this channel para palagi kang updated sa mga updates sa mga uploads natin. Of course, itong mga British gymnasts na to, sila yung makakalaban ng Philippine team in the world. And also, Carlos Yulo will be competing with them in the coming World Championship in the Philippines.
On this piece of apparatus. And there we go, straight into the handstand position.
Handstand position yun. Medyo may kaunting spiking lang na kaunti sa kanyang Pommel horse dito. Not that straight line as it is, as perfect as straight.
This is nice. Good work, yeah.
Good work there. Yan, walang brushing.
Hand placement.
So, may leg separation lang.
Just the slightest of leg splits there by Joshua.
Leg split. Wow,
Very nice.
amazing.
Into the handstand position and smoothly
Lakas si Josh.
showing the skill known as the Bosnari.
Bosnari.
And again, very good side travel there.
Solid, but may kaunti lang mga form na mga kailangang ayusin. But the handstand is good. He did well. But I hope Josh can make it more straight, his legs, to minimize those spiking.
He has indeed, and For me, starting on the pommel horse
The very
is
strong
always
man.
a difficult apparatus style of competition, and I think if you ask most gymnasts, they probably
With
wouldn't
an
want to
Indian
be
descent,
competing.
I
But you can see
suppose.
on screen there just how happy he is with that routine. And also being congratulated by one of his coaches, Mick Folwell,
Lakas
who
to.
himself is a Commonwealth all-around champion, so knows a thing or two about competing on an international stage.
Yeah, we've got an exceptional group of coaches as well as gymnasts on the floor here.
Wala
And
lang,
talking
ano,
about that
wala
routine
lang
construction, it's amazing how many of the,
teleprompter na
coaches on the
lumalabas
floor
kung
here
anong
are
score.
also international level judges, so they'll definitely be pulling out all the stops to get these tactical routines sorted for the
Actually,
show.
si Eldrew,
Indeed, and if you look at the
Eldrew will be
Birmingham rounds as well,
competing
some of
in
those
the World
judges
next
slash
year,
coaches,
Eldrew Yulo
they've also been gymnasts as well, so
2026,
they've gone full
and he will be
circle,
competing with
they
this
have got plenty
man.
of experience that
So,
hopefully
Eldrew
they'll
Yulo
pass
should
on
be
to the
watching
gymnasts
this na
and making sure that
para alam niya
they
kung
can
sino mga
pass on that
makakalaban
knowledge for
niya.
the gymnasts and the benefit for the gymnasts.
I always think in the men's competition
Siyempre,
it's really
Jake
nice
Jarman
to
will
see,
be competing
the
with
groups of
Ju
guys we have
Eldrew,
from different
and
clubs as
Eldrew
well.
will be
City of
competing with
Birmingham
his
very well
brother.
represented here, Notts, Pegasus, Leeds. It must be really nice to have a large training group back at the gym to help with motivation and, you know, just getting through those training sessions.
For me, it
Yes.
definitely makes that difference. It's
So,
certainly
mostly
something
magkaka-gym,
where you can push
magkakasama din
each
sila
other
sa
day to
gymnastics
day in the
clubs
gym, and
nila.
I think particularly at City of Birmingham, we can see that's paid dividends the last few years. And we can see here we've got next gymnast up from City of Birmingham.
Let's go.
Mel Robinson Bailey.
Robinson's
formerly of Earls
Bailey.
Gymnastics Club, made the switch
Alright.
a couple of years ago to compete
Nice
for
pommel
City of
horse
Birmingham.
rotation, pero hindi rin ganun ka-straight.
Certainly
Ayun, may...
strong
Ouch!
operators,
Sayang!
typically
Ow! Ayan na.
floor and
Isang
vault. You can see
pagkakamali
they're
na sa
just
pommel,
struggling
wala na. So, one whole
with
point
that midpoint of that
deduction.
routine there on the one handle.
The execution score.
Really important to get those hand placements accurate.
The camera is in the pommel horse because ito yung pinakamahirap sa lahat. Tsaka narito si Jake Jarman. Probably.
Joshua Nathan scored 14.050 for his.
Tsaka narito yung mga magagaling.
Very, very competitive score.
Si Courtney Tolok.
And Mel goes again into
Yun,
the backyard
great
travel,
job. Narito si Courtney
forwards,
Tolok.
traveling element, and then into the
Courtney
spider,
is...
which is the reverse.
Ayan.
Up into dismount.
Kailangan pang ayusin si
And safe and through.
James.
Not obviously ideal in terms
Yeah,
of
not that ideal
the
as it
start to
is,
his
but he can
competition,
do
but it's
more.
important now to reset. Make sure he can refocus. Still another
Yeah,
5
strict focus
apparatus to
lang.
go.
That's a good attitude.
Yeah, the men, of course, competing here on 6 apparatus. We'll welcome the women's artistic gymnasts into the arena in just a little while. They, of course, compete only on the 4. Well, you can see a bit of a shake of the hand there. Wasn't completely sure of that routine.
I think
but
yung
as we said
dito,
earlier,
yung sa all-around
very
nila, ito
difficult
na
to
rin
start your
yung
competition on the
qualifications
pommel
nila.
horse.
Wala ng
It is
qualifications.
indeed, and you can
So
see
all of
here
them
those
will be
pommel
competing for
handles
the
are not very
all-around.
wide,
Then in that
and
all-around,
I suppose relative to
magkakaroon
the size of
ng
the gymnast
sa
and the width of the
qualifications,
gymnast's
mag-trim
shoulders, it
down
does make
sila.
it very difficult to stay balanced, to get those hand placements accurate. So he did well to finish off the routine in style though.
Certainly did. And next up, this is a very busy gentleman, isn't it? He's been podcasting and all sorts in the last few months.
He has indeed. We have Winston Powell, again of City of Birmingham.
From City of Birmingham. So this one is
You can see
from Liverpool.
Pommel
Liverpool is where
Horse routine's
the
got 9.6.
World Championship 2022 happened. Or 2023 happened. Yeah. Amazing. Good
Nice work there by
job.
Winston. Very difficult.
Mahirap yun.
You can see hasn't quite
Pero
got the same
hindi
level
ganun
of
kaano eh.
amplitude
May
and
pike
speed to
pa
his
rin na
routine
kaunti.
as
Kailangan bawasan yung
perhaps
pagka-pike
Joshua
niya yan.
Nathan. But he's doing well. He's staying on the pommel horse. And he's
Dapat
fighting.
more straight line.
His second half there looks like
If
he's
you can
going
see
into a little
Ahmad
bit
Abu
more.
Al Sud of Jordan, how perfect it is that they are
As those
doing
hips start to
in the
dip,
pommel
judges
horse.
will pick up that and a little bit slow getting to the handstand. But nonetheless,
Medyo sluggish
he
siya
makes it
kaunti,
through.
pero
Clean routine.
it's
Well
good,
done,
it's good,
Winston.
it's good.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be happy to have that first routine in the bag. Like I say, yeah, he's been a busy boy. He's started himself a bit.
Okay din manood ng mga ano eh, ng mga regional championships.
Are a lot more engaged in social media and
Kasi
a bit more self-promotion,
if
I
you're watching
suppose,
this
than maybe
regional
it was back in your
championship,
day.
this British
Absolutely,
championships
I
is
think that's
equivalent
the modern
in
day
the
athlete
Philippines
now.
SEA
I think they have
Games.
to build their own exposure. I think it's important for them.
But
to,
unfortunately, in the
create a
Philippines, we
platform
don't
for
have that
themselves so
Southeast
they
Asian
can
Gymnastics
also
Championship.
just
I
showcase
hope
themselves, but
that
also
we
help
can
raise the
have
profile of the
that
sport
Southeast
as well.
Asian
So
Gymnastics
I'm all for it,
Championship
that's for
every
certain.
year.
Absolutely, no,
Because
it's really
in the
interesting
gymnasts
to,
of Southeast
see all his
Asia
different
are just
endeavours,
having their
and he's doing a
competition
grand job of
every
it, so
2
Winston,
years.
keep on going.
Well, I hope every year they will have us Southeast Asian Gymnastics Championships.
You can see on the pommel horse our next gymnast also represents the city of Birmingham. Zion Azir. Again, coached by Luke Bolwell.
Osaya now on the pommel.
Winston for his routine scored 12.35. So I'm just settling into
Sayang,
the routine.
ouch! Ayan, no?
Unfortunately, you can
That
see
will be
he
considered as
stopped there.
fall.
The judges will count that
Ay,
as a full
sayang,
stop.
oh. Aray
And
ko,
again,
dalawa.
he probably just needs to jump off the pommel and reset.
Aray ko, sakit nun.
Very difficult once you become
Difficult
static
talaga.
on the pommel horse. It's so difficult then to pick back up and
Sayang hindi
literally have
lumalabas
to
yung
use all your
score.
strength as opposed to the momentum of the pommel horse swing. Oh, we go again.
Yung
That's
ano
better.
nila eh, if you don't have that proper posture,
Moving
medyo okay
onto the
naman
level.
siya, but hindi ganun ka-straight yung lines. There is a little
And
bit
he's
of piking.
sideways
Again,
travel, really
ouch!
struggling on this
Diyos ko.
apparatus today.
Again, second fall.
Pommel's definitely a piece that's dependent
Focus
on
lang, bro.
maintaining
Focus.
that rhythm, isn't it? And like you say, it's so difficult when you've had one mistake.
Yeah.
It kind of throws the whole routine off balance.
Kapag nagkaroon ka ng isang mistakes, lahat na nagkakaroon ka ng problema sa lahat sa routine mo sa... Or you start to lose your balance and focus kapag nagkaroon ka ng problema. Ay, again, third!
And
I
you
hope,
can see
ay,
here,
Diyos ko.
perhaps he's just not
Ano na
being
siya,
able to get control of that.
disappointed na yung
It's a
itsura
little
niya.
bit tricky, a
Yan.
little bit twitchy on the pommel horse.
Mahirap
So we
talaga ang
say
pommel
Pommel's
horse,
not
marami
always a
nagkakamali
fun
dyan.
place to start your competition. Where did you like to start your all-around if you got the choice?
I think typically rings is a good piece because you can use your strength, you can use that adrenaline. For me, that was always one of the better apparatus to be starting on. Or perhaps sometimes floor and bolt because you could use a little bit of your adrenaline and the sort of power that you're feeling from the start of the competition and channel those nerves and that energy in the right way. Pommel is the complete opposite. You need to
In
be
this
able to
British
tamper that
Championship,
adrenaline
they
and
will
bring
be
yourself down
able
to a steady state to make sure
to
they're
form
not
their
staying in
Team
control.
England
And you could see Coach Luke
for the
Folwell
European
doing his very best
Championship.
to bring the gymnast back into the room, reminding him no doubt that he's still got 5 pieces to go and the day is new and just begun.
Absolutely, and this is where we touched on how important the coach relationship is because they have that experience. They would have been there
Ito
themselves in this
team
exact
yata
same
to ni
position at
Jake
some
Jarman
point
kasi
in their
pareho
career.
sila ng
No
leotards
doubt,
or
words of
hindi.
wisdom by Luke Folwell. Our next gymnast representing Woking, Jamie Lewis.
Jamie Lewis.
A favourite for this title here today after some recent success at the English Championships, so definitely one to watch.
Nice one, C4.
It's a good start there. The sheer
good
into
start.
handstand.
Nice.
Typically has been a very
Good,
good
it
pommel
was a
horse
good
worker
form.
in the
Ay,
past
sayang,
few
nagka-piking siya. Ayan, piking, oh.
years. Been part
Daming
of the GB
piking.
junior squad for many years. A junior
Ay,
European
Diyos ko,
champion.
muntik na.
You can see there exactly why
Good flares.
he's a good pommel horse worker. See plenty of amplitude and swinging in those flare elements,
Yeah. Good flare elements.
and then doing the same into the forwards travel.
Pero may piking talaga siya
Just
eh.
the dismount to go, up he goes. A little bit of a stop, but he's safely through. Excellent routine.
Good
there by
job,
Jamie
good
Lewis.
job. Jamie Lewis.
What a start, and just, I mean, anyone watching that can appreciate the difficulty of that routine, the flare elements in particular,
Yeah,
are just
very
such a
difficult.
wow factor.
Indeed, and that routine certainly had a little bit of everything. You could see it had the intricate work on the one handles, it had the flares.
Good, binawasan nila
it
yung
had the
difficulty
the forward
kasi
and the backward
if you're
travels,
doing a 10
and then also the
difficulties,
dismount return
marami
as
kasi
well.
talagang
I'm sure
gymnast
he'll be
na
very, very happy with
nadidisgrasya eh.
For sure.
So at
With
least,
his
so
recent
ang
success,
kanilang
he's gotta know that there's a bit of a
purpose
weight
kung
on his
bakit 8
shoulders
na
today,
lang,
hasn't he? He's gotta
para
know
at
the
least
pressure's on,
tumagal
so
ang mga
to deliver that
gymnast
performance,
sa
that was
sa
really quite
pag
something special.
It was
paggalaban,
actually, and I have to
pakikipaglaban.
admit, the last competition he competed in probably surprised a few people in terms of what he scored at the English Championships.
As you can see
becoming
there.
English champion. It was a clean
Nice one.
competition there, and he'll be hoping for the same today. And certainly hasn't done himself any harm there with that routine.
Good
So
job.
this is the dismount at the end. A little bit of a stop. Ideally, the judges would like to see a bit more flow and speed getting into that handstand position, but
Good job.
Jamie will be happy with that.
Jake Jarman now on the pommel horse for his all around.
Now, our next contender on the pommel is certainly not a stranger to any of our audience, I'm sure. Had a bit of success
It's
in
good
Paris,
to
didn't
see
he?
Just a
Jake
little,
Jarman
just a
here
little. Olympic
competing
medalist.
again.
And also a current world champion on the vault as well. But funnily enough, didn't actually medal on the vault. It was the floor that he won a medal on. So it shows the caliber of this gymnast and the level he's competing at.
He's a world champion in
Yeah, an
2023
outstanding performer on the leg
vault.
events, but also
There is no world
proving
champion in
himself to be a steady
2024, so he is the
competitor
current
footing on some of
world
these
champion in the
support operators
vault
as well.
and
Definitely,
also
for me, the
bronze
pommel
medal
horse
in
is probably
the floor
apparatus where we've
exercises.
seen his routine probably excel over the last year or so, where you can see he's really gone back to basics, focused on building a good basic swing and making sure that he's reducing his deductions from the judges. And from what I've seen, he's certainly been improving on this apparatus. And
Jake
he's never
Jarman is
become not
also
quite
a gold,
specialist perhaps, but
a
certainly
good pommel
very,
horse
very good stock
specialist.
routine. So
His
he
body
can
is
stay
a
on the
good,
pommel horse
very
today.
good for pommel
It'll be,
horse.
another example of him
Not that bulk,
living up to
good
those
proportion.
expectations and making sure that he is going to be one of the gymnasts for the future of our sport.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
it's-
Jake
he
Jarman,
will
of
be
course,
the
from
next
Huntingdon, who
great
have an
gymnast
incredible
of Great
pedigree on the pommel
Britain.
horse. They've had lots of international medalists over the years, and I'm sure Jake will be wanting to replicate some of that star quality today.
Let's go, Jake.
Indeed, grown up watching the likes of Lou Smith, Daniel Keating's on the pommel horse, 2 world medalists.
Nice one.
So probably knows a
That's
thing or two
it.
about
See?
the pommel horse. I
The
suggest.
lines. Very amazing lines.
There you go,
And
into
the height.
trapeze on the one handle. So difficult.
Wow.
It's a triple Russian skill in between. So hard to get those hand placements right.
Great start.
And again,
Jake.
there's the Russian skill on the one
Great
handle.
Russian skill.
This is good. You can see that hip extension there at the front, which is what
Yeah.
the gymnasts are after.
Amazing hip
Tiny bit of
extension.
hand skewing, which is ideally where the hands
Wow,
need to
wow.
stay parallel.
Woo!
But it's a very good routine.
Nice
Throws
one,
it into the
Jake.
handstand dismount, and again shows why he's
Amazing,
one of our
amazing,
best
Jake.
gymnasts right now.
An excellent start and a very,
Very
warm
excellent.
reception from the crowd
Ang
here
ganda
in
ng
Liverpool.
form niya doon.
It's
Hindi
gonna be
siya
an exciting gymnast to watch
nag-piking.
as this competition progresses.
May piking na konti, pero very
Also
minimal.
coached by Ben Hulls,
And compared
who's
to
had
other,
a lot of success over the past
compared
few
to his
days with an
predecessors, yeah,
under
that's
16
his
all-round
coach.
champion, under 18 all-round champion. I don't think Jake is competing in the all-round today, so perhaps won't crown that senior title as well, but it's not been a bad weekend so far.
Not at all, and he's known Jake since he was a very young lad. I was chatting to him at a summer camp last year, and he was saying he, picked him up
Diyan
pretty
lang,
much in a
merong
preschool class
hindi magandang
and said,
ano doon,
that boy's going to be a world champion, and lo and behold,
So,
a few years later,
what's
here
the
we are.
score?
There you go. That's talent idea if I've ever heard of it, but sometimes that talent is just so obvious, and particularly when he gets on floor and vaults.
Sayang, di
Then I
pinapakita
haven't
yung
really
score.
ever seen too many gymnasts quite like him in the British setup over the years, who just has that just pure natural ability, that spatial coordination in the air, as well as just those fast twitch fibers that allow him to get the height, the speed, and the power in his tumbling.
For sure. When I asked Ben what it was that he saw in him, he said a couple of years after they'd had him out of preschool, he saw him in a class and asked him to do a flick, and apparently just did a standing tuck back. There aren't many kids who
Jake
don't do
Jarman
that,
got
and that's what they produce.
13.7.
Oh, there you
Execution is
And
8.4.
for these
Difficulty is
efforts, scores of
5.3. Thank you very much.
13.7, which puts him in third position on the pommel horse so far. So a good start to his competition.
Yeah, a great score for that first rotation. As we mentioned, the boys are always just happy to go through clean on the pommel horse, so a great start to his championships here.
Nathan Joshua,
You can see
standing
top score on the
natin.
pommel
Nathan
horse so far
Joshua,
is 14.05.
ang number 1. Sayang wala
From
sa
Joshua
top 8
Nathan.
si ano. Sino kaya si
Of course,
Jamie
we've had our
Lewis?
focuses on the pommel horse in that first rotation.
Yan.
Looks like the competition
Courtney
has concluded
Tulloch now
right now.
on
We've got a
the
chance to look back
rings.
at Courtney Tulloch, the king of the rings.
Yeah, the king of the rings and the British in the Great Britain.
A world medalist in this very arena on this piece of apparatus. And
Great
strength.
Maltese.
You can see why that Maltese element there, completely flat. Certainly
Yeah,
held it for
completely
the full 2
flat.
seconds. Solid in that handstand position.
Very solid.
And moves back into the top planche.
Alright, to the planche and go to the
movements.
iron cross.
Ideally, probably needs to hold some of these positions just a fraction.
Wow,
of a
from
second
the hold, inverted hold to the Maltese.
You
Great
can see
job.
This is a good angle actually where you can
Nice
see the shoulders a little bit
handstand.
higher than the feet, so the judges will spot that. Some
Yeah, ay
excellent
sayang,
work.
pero
Yeah,
still
there's a
good.
triple back somersault. We mentioned we might see a few more of these somersaults.
Great job,
displayed
Courtney Tulloch.
over the course of this Olympic cycle, and that's a perfect example of it.
So good to see
Great
Courtney
job.
back in the competition arena. I know he had some serious disappointment last year when he wasn't selected for that Paris squad. He's been so close so many times to making Olympic team, but clearly back in at the M&S Bank Arena this year and looks like he's enjoying himself.
Indeed, it's a good start to his competition. Scores 13.95. He took the big step back on the dismount, so did ever so well to make sure that he captured the landing and didn't give any further deductions away. You get all that height and all that rotation. Sometimes
Galing ni
it can
Corti
be difficult to
Tolok.
spot and just control the landing.
Absolutely. So we can see the standings after that first rotation of competition.
So Harry
Hepworth is currently in the top spot with
14.5.
14.5.
And
His
there was
teammate from
Jamie
Leeds
in top
Gymnastics Club,
5,
just a tenth
Jamie
of a point
Lewis.
behind, whilst Ruben Ward from the Manchester Academy of
Yeah.
Gymnastics currently sits in
Nathan
third place.
Joshua, top 4.
So let's head back to the
Harry
so let's head back
Hepworth
to
will
the
be
studio to see
performing.
what Sam and Sydney made of that first round of competition.
Sam, we're underway. Tell me, who impressed you in that first rotation?
Well, Sydney, that was an unbelievable first
Pakinggan natin
rotation.
ang
All of the
nasabi
big
nila.
gymnasts and the big names have hit their routines there. So we had some incredible performances, but Joshua Nathan started off brilliantly on the pommel horse, got a score of 14, and then we had Jamie Lewis again doing another great pommel horse routine, 13.95, and then Jake finishing up with a 13.7. So it's actually been about 20 years since we've not had the likes of Lewis Smith, Daniel Keatons, or Max Whitlock in a British pommel horse lineup. So it really is an open field on that apparatus. So I think we're gonna have a little look at a routine on the rings here from Oakley Banks, so we can see what Oakley did on the rings.
Yes.
So the rings is a very, very difficult
Now there
apparatus.
is a rings
Quite often
now.
When you think of men's gymnastics, you think of the iron cross and the rings. We're gonna have a little look at his routine. He has a beautiful long line. And you've got to
Who
make
is
sure that
this?
you're holding all of these elements for 2 seconds. That's a
Sinabi.
beautiful crucifix. That skill's been upgraded in the new rules right now.
2 seconds ang kada hold. One.
And it's called the still rings because you're trying to keep them
Sayang.
still, Sydney, so you don't want them to be moving too much. He's doing a really great job. Like I said, one of the taller gymnasts that we've got.
Maano,
So you can see
malikot
that
ang rings
beautiful
niya.
long line. Whenever he's in a
Grabing swing.
position like a handstand. And that's a Jonathan and a Yamawaki
Arcing.
skill, so the double somersaults. He's trying to keep his body tension there in the handstand.
Yeah. Kailangan maayos ang handstand.
And we're getting ready
Medyo
for the dismount.
malikot. Great
And a double
dismount,
twist and double
bro.
back. A great routine there from Oakley.
And Sam, you
From
mentioned
Oakley.
that this year,
Nice one.
post-Olympics, the code of points for the men's gymnastics has changed. How is that affecting what we're going to be
Lagyan
seeing?
natin ang
Well,
code
it's
of
having a
points.
massive impact, Sydney, because the gymnasts are now going to be performing routines with only 8 skills instead of 10. So they're going to theoretically have a lot more of an endurance, and that endurance is going to help them do some big skills. So in men's
Yeah.
gymnastics in this Olympic cycle, what's being valued really highly are the exciting, massive dismounts with triple somersaults, double
Yes.
twists, and obviously that is brilliant for the spectators and very, very exciting for anybody watching
Yeah,
that
if you
go.
will have
Well, they
only
absolutely
8
are loving it here in Liverpool. Our
kung magkakaroon ka
gymnasts are
ng
making their way around
8
to the
difficulties,
second
so
rotation.
you have
And we're
a
gonna be
very
seeing
good
the
room
Scottish
for
champion Ruben Ward on the
good room
parallel
na
bars. Has he impressed you so
magpakita ng
far,
mga
Sam?
difficult
Ruben started incredibly
routines.
well. Like you said, he's the Scottish champion. He won that title a few weeks ago, scored a 14-2 on the vault, did a triple twist. A very, very difficult vault. Another young gymnast that's only recently moved up to the senior ranks. So an amazing performance, and I'm very much looking forward to his routine on the parallel bars. And I think we've got another vault here to watch, Sydney. So we've got Sam Mustafi on the vault. So
Under
we've got Sam on the rings. So Sam's going to do his
Sam
rings routine. So Sam
on the
represents
rings here.
Pegasus, the gymnastics club where Courtney Tulloch grew up. So these guys know how to do rings.
ka-gym ni Corti Tolok.
And a very strong start from Sam. So he does the Azarian, which is the back circle to a crucifix. Again, really nice long lines, great toe
Nice
point.
one.
He's looking to hold all of these skills for a full 2 seconds. It's very hard when you're doing a rings routine and you've got the adrenaline going through your body
Yamawaki
to
to
slow things down. and hold
your...
it for
Ah,
those 2
sayang,
seconds.
sayang.
He's got to try and
Malikot yung kanyang
control his
handstand. Arc siya, oh.
He does a great job. See what dismount
That
we've got.
one. Good
So
job, good
another
job.
double-double and a great routine, a really solid start for Sam.
These young gymnasts have
Very
really
good routine
been
too.
impressing so far in the first rotation, and there's still so much for them to go. We're only on rotation 2. Who are you looking forward to seeing, Sam?
So some of the performances we didn't see there live in the broadcast. Harry Hepworth on vault, incredible performance on the vault, so he scored an average of 14.5. So Harry is an Olympic medalist on vault. So I'm excited to see Harry throughout the rest of this competition. Like you said, we had Courtney Tulloch on the rings. He did a great routine. He did the triple back somersault. So there, Courtney's going after those big bucks and trying to land that dismount. And another thing that we should point out, that the men now have a sticking bonus. So if the gymnast sticks his landing, regardless of how low he's landing, he gets a 0.1 bonus. So that dismount is worth so much. So expect to see a lot of triple somersaults today.
We'll absolutely be focusing on all of those. And Katie mentioned in commentary that Courtney Tulloch has had an unlucky few years. And I think you could tell today that he's just, the grit and determination on his face to prove himself was clearly there, wasn't it?
Yeah, I had a conversation yesterday sitting with Courtney, and he told me that actually if the rules hadn't changed and it hadn't dropped to 8 skills, he thinks he would have finished. So that's a gymnast that's benefited from this new code of points. Courtney obviously feels that at 8 skills, he's going to be still competitive with the best gymnasts in the world. And like you said, Courtney's missed out on that Olympic Games experience. I'm sure that's in the back of his mind. Look, it's a long 4 years, but the level of gymnastics that Courtney is doing, he will still be in the mix in 4 years' time.
Well, he's fortunate that the skills have gone down to stay around, but the crowd that we can see here in Liverpool are also clearly thrilled at the skills that they're getting to see on the competition floor. Our gymnasts will shortly be finishing up their warm-ups for rotation 2, so we'll be passing you back over to Katie Foster and Christian Thomas in our commentary booth.
Thank you very much, Sydney. Thank you, Sam. Gymnasts now just final preparations before they get ready to perform, get their mindset ready. It's not just always about the physical side to the sport, it's also about the psychological side and how they prepare as well mentally.
For sure. These guys will have done hundreds of routines in training over the last few weeks and months. But it really is down to the mentality and the mental toughness to perform those routines when the pressure is on and when you have to raise your hand to the judges.
Indeed. And also what's quite interesting, sometimes gymnasts that have a great start to the competition, how do you maintain that? And
Now we are nasa parallel bar tayo.
Process driven, not just thinking about the end of the routine.
Good job.
Equally, those that haven't had the great start to the competition,
Nice
how do they
handstand.
remotivate themselves,
Ganda.
to get themselves back into it.
Yeah, gymnastics
Stable.
is definitely as much a mental sport as it is a
Sayang,
physical one. And that's
nag-bend yung ano.
certainly saying something because it's pretty tough physically too.
Oh, pwede ba yun?
So we're going to be turning our attention to
Or
the
this is
P-bars
just
in this
a
rotation. The guys
warm
just
up.
making their final preparations.
Ah,
They do
warm
get a
up
little
lang
bit
pala.
longer on the P-bars, don't
Kala
they,
ko yun
to
na talaga.
warm up than other apparatus because they have quite specific settings, don't they?
Yes, they do. They have a little bit longer so that they can make sure that the grip's where it needs to be. You can see here now.
Yeah, kailangan nilang mas magandang mga maraming
Pressing the
chalk
P-bars to make sure
para
that
malaman
the grip
na
is what it needs to
okay
be. The
talaga yung
chalk,
mga
sometimes
grips.
there's syrup, there's honey involved, there's all sorts of concoctions and mixtures just to get that grip as accurate as the gymnast wants, and that's very individual to each gymnast. So the next gymnast will come on.
Sana lang meron siyang
set it up
ka-gymnast
slightly
na nag-help
differently,
sa kanya
and that's almost
sa
part of
paglalagay ng
competing on
chalk
P-bars,
para
making
hindi
sure you get the
masyadong
grip
ma...
to how you need it.
And the guys can change the width of the P-bars as well, can't they?
Ang dami
Indeed,
naman
so
chalk
you
na
can see there,
sayang.
those
At
sort of
nagliparan
right
ng mga
toggles
chalk,
at the top
ah.
of the parallel bars, you can sort of move them inwards.
Kung
move them
meron kang
outwards.
asthma,
Again,
ma-asthma ka
that's
dito sa
dependent
chalk na
on
pinaglalagay
usually the
niya.
width, of the shoulders of the gymnast and also personal preference as well.
Yeah, the gymnasts are expected to work between the bars, under the bars, over the bars, and often you'll see them going across to one rail as well. So really the precision of that setting is imperative, isn't it?
Oh, it makes a massive, massive difference. It really does. Those red toggles that I just mentioned earlier, that you can move inwards, you can move them outwards. You can see here now, just preparing himself. Elliot Vernon. of
Nice
the
one.
Gymnastics Club. Coach there,
May
Dave
deductions
Moore,
lang
pulling out the
doon.
springboard.
May deductions din. Kailangan mas maging firm
There's
pa
gonna
yung
send
kanyang
the half turn.
handstand.
Just a slight leg split.
Yeah.
That was clean. And then the
Hindi
giant
hindi
squirrel
ganun ka-clean. Ay, hindi din maganda yung handstand niya doon.
just settles there now
Yung
into
mga
VC
handstand
and
niya
has a
medyo
breathe out.
malikot-likot na kaunti.
It's good handstand position there as he moves into
So,
the
ayan.
heel leap.
Ayun,
You
no?
can see there caught on a bent arm. That was his right arm that he caught. Just almost killed all of his momentum.
Wow.
There's the dismount, big dismount.
Great
double front
job.
there.
Awesome, bro. Awesome.
I'm sure he would have like to be a little bit cleaner in that routine, but certainly not a bad effort. And the impact on P-bars of losing that momentum, not quite as bad as it is on the pommel horse.
Yeah, you're able to sort of, I guess, restart a little bit easier on the parallel
Mga
bars.
ka-gym niya,
You
na
can see
mga
it was
British
that one
din.
skill that you had to take the extra swing, so that is the deduction. But the rest of the routine was very clean, so I think the score-wise it should still be okay.
Harry Hep worked.
And just debriefing there with his
Katim nila
teammate
si
from
Harry
Leeds
Hepworth.
Gymnastics Club. These guys have had a tremendous amount of success at not just these British Championships, but at a wide variety of international competitions over the last few cycles. The consistency with which they're producing exceptional performance is just outstanding.
Indeed, and you can see here that they're all benefiting from that, and what we mentioned earlier, training as a group, able to push each other on to bigger and better
Nice
things,
ang
and certainly
kanyang pike
help raise the level
ups.
of everyone who's training
May
at
deductions
the
lang doon
Leeds Gymnastics Club.
sa dismounting
Also
niya.
home to Olympic medalist Niall Wilson. So again, they've certainly been having a consistent amount of success now for a good number of years. It's great to see the coaches, Tom Rawlinson, Dave Murray, Andrew Butcher, all contributing to that success.
Yeah, it's a really great team up there in Leeds, and I think they all complement each
Ito na
other
naman,
really nicely.
nandiyo
Dave
na
always
ang
seems
next
such a
gymnast
calm,
natin.
collected character, doesn't he?
What's his
I
name?
think that's important for the
Pakinggan
gymnast. When they
natin.
see that the coach is calm, that just gives that good level of energy for the gymnast. I think that's really, really important because if the gymnast, if the coach is getting a little bit elevated, is getting a little bit excited, you can feel that as a gymnast, and almost you want the complete opposite. You want calm, you want composed, which is really important.
Definitely. And in fact, there's so many men taking part in this competition today from Leeds. They've got lads competing across two different pieces of apparatus at the moment, just a hair's breadth away from each other on the P-bars and the high bar at the same time. But I'm sure lots of team support between all of the guys from Leeds Gymnastics Club.
We're just waiting for the score of Elliot Vernon to come in. And it looks like it's just coming now, 12.2. And they'll be moving on to our next gymnast, Henry Lewis.
Henry Lewis. Let's welcome Henry Lewis here.
See there, starts with the undersummit. And there's the studs. You can see there just a few leg errors. Where the legs
Yeah,
have
may
either
leg
come
error
apart
siya.
or bent when they're not supposed to. Those expert
May
judges
kaunting bending sa legs
meticulously watching all the details.
Dapat nabawasan yun.
And there's the dismount.
Good job.
And we'll also get that
Medyo
stick
hindi
bonus,
ganun
that Sam
ka-difficult
reference
pero
there.
compared
Good
to
dismount.
other gymnasts,
It's a good feeling when your feet don't move when they hit the floor,
but
isn't
it's
it?
fine.
Indeed, and even more so when you know you're getting an extra 0.1 bonus for it as well.
Absolutely. You mentioned the judges there. We've got panels of sort of 4 to 6 judges on the various apparatus here in Liverpool. And they've got a very important job to do. Those guys have got to work out both
Grabe,
the
buff na buff
difficulty
ang katawan
value
nila,
of the
oh.
routines that are being presented, and also have the difficult job of taking those points away for all the
Strong
little bits
men.
and bobs when they don't quite go to plan. The little bent knees, the flexed feet.
Ayun, oh.
It's a very intricate and detailed
Medyo
job being a
deductions
judge.
doon
It
talaga.
is, there's a lot that goes into it. You can see there, these are the sort of things I'll be looking at. See those slight hand movements? The judges will pick up on that. Slight
Tuck,
bent leg there as he
dismount,
moves into
it
the
is
front of eye
good.
position. They'll pick up on that, but nothing to take off
Amazing
on the
job.
dismount now in terms of the landing.
No, it's a very good feeling as a gymnast when you manage to cap your routine off like that. And certainly a nice exclamation point to leave in the judge's mind before they do go to work working out that score for the routine.
You have here the next gymnast.
You can see here our next gymnast on the parallel bars, just preparing his hands now. There's that grip that we talked about, which is really, really important. You can see there that mental
Nalagay nila
rehearsal
yung
as well,
if you are new to the
practicing routine in
sports,
his mind.
naglalagay sila dito
For what
ng,
it
I
might
think
feel
this
like
is
once he's up
a,
there competing, steadying, calming those nerves.
who's that
You can see
gymnast
he's
on
got
the
his own
floor?
bag of chalk there as well. The gymnast
Oh.
can be quite particular about what variety of chalk they use.
Yeah.
You'll see quite a few of the girls later using block chalk, but the boys
Block
tend
chalk.
to lean towards powder, don't they?
They do, and I think typically that's because it's easy to spread on the apparatus, such as the parallel bars. You do see some of the male gymnasts using some of the block chalk as well, but for me it was all
Block
about powder
chalk?
chalk.
So
I
babae.
preferred that for sure. And we can see the score that came in for Henry Lewis on the parallel bars was 12.25. Now moving to Patrick Watkinson.
Patrick Parkinson.
There's the Healy skill. Changes direction. There's Unasumi.
Ay, sayang. Di maganda yung handstand. Ay, nag-bending of the legs. Adjustment, 0.1 deduction. Kada adjustment.
That's what the judges really were making sure
Sayang.
that they capture.
Ayun din, nag-bending of the elbow, deductions, adjustment. Ang daming deductions na dito.
And into the double pike dismount.
Good one. Good job.
Really through from Patrick.
What matters most, hindi siya na-disgrasya.
Yes, a clean conclusion to that routine, but no stick bonus on this occasion. So for the elimination of any doubt, a stuck dismount, as far as we're concerned, is one where your feet hit the floor and they do not move.
Leads
That being
Gymnastics.
said, the judges can also take
So Harry
deductions for
Hepworth
things
is
like
not
trunk
participating
movement or
in the
extra
all-around.
arm swings, can't they? So you
Ayan,
do
no,
have to
sumakit
weigh up
ang
whether
ano
it's
niya,
worth taking that little pace, or if you think you can find your balance by another method.
Indeed, that's my understanding as well. I think as long as your
Grabe.
heels don't come off the floor, then that counts as a stick. But
Yung
doesn't
shoulder niya
necessarily mean
masakit
you won't
after.
incur deductions if your
Baka
arms
mayroon siyang
are then trying to keep you on balance and moving, and also the trunk of your body
injury.
as well. You can see there, that's the dismount, the dual pipe dismount. Cleanly through, just a small hop forward
Ni-massage
on
siya
the
lang
landing.
siguro. Kasi kung injury, hindi siya makakagalaw niyan.
Our next
From
gymnast up
Manchester?
competing is Ruben Ward.
He's been an exceptional junior coming up through the ranks, hasn't he? And it's exciting to see him on this senior stage today.
Sayang wala
It's always
dito
nice to
kung...
see when
I'm
that
looking
transition
for
from
the
juniors
score
to
here in the
seniors
internet, but
is
I
great
cannot
success.
find.
It's not always the easiest of transitions. You're competing against some of the best gymnasts, not just in this country, but ultimately the world. So it is difficult, but also I think at the same time encouraging. Typically, I think we do a pretty good job of that within the GB gymnastics setup.
And this time around, a little bit easier than maybe it has been in the past with that change to the men's code, whereby it is still the 8 skills, which has been typical for the juniors anyway.
Absolutely, I think that really will make a difference. Oh, and that's a difficult start there by Ruben. A rather unusual start as well, the clear circle from the one rail. You could see there that his feet overshot the parallel bars, which then meant he wasn't able to stay within the rails.
So he's obviously decided to apply a little bit more of that honey or golden syrup, it might be, to his hands. How long do the guys have to chalk back up before they can get back on the apparatus?
So they'll have 30 seconds. You can see they have to make sure that it's a quick 30 seconds as well, or it feels certainly quick. I know 30 seconds is 30 seconds, but it certainly feels more quicker than that when you're quickly having to readjust, recompose yourself and get back into the flow of the routine. Again, you can see there, not quite the start to his parallel bars routine he was hoping, but that was clean. Front somersault from the upper arms, known as the Honma. Slightly better work there than the cut skill.
That's good one.
And then into the Healy. Starting to settle now into the routine, but much of the damage has been done. You can see there,
Sayang.
characteristics mistakes here by Ruben, I have to admit. I do wonder whether he just hasn't quite composed himself the way that he's needed to finish off this routine.
Yeah, he certainly seems unsettled, doesn't he? Which isn't what you want to be on the P-bars.
Very similar in terms of the pommel horse, where it's important to find that rhythm. Try and utilise the momentum of the swinging elements, but also try and stay composed because it is quite an intricate apparatus. Here's the dismount. Double front somersault with the half turn. That's the first one I've seen today of those. Quite popular dismount, but also very difficult dismount at the same time.
And you can see the disappointment on his face there, obviously not the
Yeah.
routine that he wanted to produce. And I think there is also something to be said for when you step up into these senior ranks. I know Sydney in the studio mentioned earlier, we've got record-breaking ticket sales here today, and the difference between the spectators for a junior day of competition versus a senior day, I mean, this arena is packed. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of noise from the crowd. And it is
Ang
a bit of a
daming
different vibe
manonood,
to a
the
junior
crowd, oh.
competition.
It is, to be honest, this arena right now with the crowds, it feels more like a European
Ang ganda
Championship,
ng
maybe even a
kanyang-
World Championships as well, which probably suggests the great job and the great
Handstand.
opportunity that the British gymnasts have to compete in front of these audiences.
Sayang.
For me, that certainly is a bonus because it
Gusto
just
ang
puts
British
you under the
Gymnastics tsaka
limelight and
European kasi
it gets you
maraming
prepared
ilaw.
for
Pag
what
World
a
Championship,
major championship
madilim.
might feel like. But it is also very, very
Pero I
difficult
mean to say,
because
walang
it's your
ilaw
first
sa
time and
audience.
you're
Ang ilaw
stepping
lang
into
nasa mga
this
gymnasts lang.
environment, to
Para
actually
wala
ignore
masyadong
everything else that's going on. It takes a lot of
para wala
practice
masyadong
to be able to switch
distraction
off
sa
from
mga
all the outside
gymnasts.
noise and just concentrate on your gymnastics.
Yeah, it's a big skill that these gymnasts need to learn, isn't it? So, like we mentioned earlier, there'll be lots of new skills going into routines this year just to test and feel them out a little bit at the beginning of this Olympic cycle.
Yes.
Because you really do want to know that when you put your hand up in 4 years' time at the 2028 British Championships and coming towards those Olympic trial selection events, that you're really confident and composed about what you're about to perform.
Woo!
Absolutely. And our next gymnast on the parallel bars, Connor Sullivan from Leeds Gymnastics Club.
Yes. Leeds Gymnastics Club.
Opts for the Healy start to settle into the routine
He starts, yeah.
and into the underbar
Yon,
work. which
it's
is
trying to
something
have a good posture there.
John Ed as well, just to move his hand
Nice,
to make sure
L
that he
seat.
can continue with the routine. Very
Good
steady
transition.
in the
Pero
left
hindi
handstand.
naman ganun ka-perfect yung transition niya. Yun, no?
Opts not for the dismount. I do wonder whether that's perhaps an injury. Perhaps just
Okay.
to protect himself, maybe a lower limb injury.
Tinapos.
Yes, but still
Yun na,
nice
yun.
that he's had the opportunity to kind of put that routine out, and we've noted that some of the gymnasts aren't competing on all apparatus today, so you know, in some instances you might be using this as a test for new routines or for new skills, so great that you still have the opportunity to put the routine out there even if you opted not to pop a dismount on it.
May ano siya? May injury? Kaya di niya na tinapos.
We are starting to near the end of this second rotation. It's been a very quick competition so far. It's
Very ano
certainly
lang,
quite quick.
just to show
One gymnast up after
the
the
participant.
It has. We'll be
Sayang, di niya
welcoming the
tinapos.
women's artistic competitors into the arena in rotation at number 3. Mentioned earlier that the boys, of course, compete across 6 apparatus and the women only 4. So they'll be
One.
joining us for the conclusion of this competition.
2,
Get another look at this routine, and we can see there that was the Healy skill. Very
3.
cleanly done. This is
Ayan, no?
the skill here where I just said there's that
4.
right hand had to just very quickly adjust in the air to make sure that it didn't impact the rest of the routine. And that's
Yeah.
experience right there, and trying to know that in the air doesn't quite feel right and having to make that adjustment.
Yeah, split-second decisions are often what gymnastics is all
All
about,
right.
being able to make those
Standing
adjustments.
after the
So
second
we can take a look
rotation.
at the rankings now in this men's
Top 1
senior
is
competition.
Jonas.
Currently in
Oh,
third place is
Rushworth.
Jamie Lewis
Top
from
2
Woking
is
Gymnastics
Michael.
Club.
Jamie Lewis, top
In second,
3.
it's Mikey Goddard from
Nathan,
Leeds,
Joshua,
and
top
his teammate
4.
Jonas Rushworth is
Islam
currently
Mustafi,
sitting in the
top
spot. In
5.
fact, actually,
Jacob
they're
Edwards,
tied,
top
both
6.
26.9, both from Leeds
Then
Gymnastics
Cameron,
Club.
top
They'll be
8.
wanting
And
to
Escu
keep their
Alexandro,
standings right
top
on top of the
7.
podium.
From Leeds Gymnastics Club, the top 1 and top 2. Working
So
Gymnastics
after 2
Club.
action-packed rotations of competition, let's throw it back and see what Sam and Sydney have got to say.
Sydney, another great rotation there, and we saw some exciting gymnastics, but we also saw a few mistakes from some of the big competitors. We saw Ruben had a difficult time there on the parallel bars after his fantastic vault, and some of the gymnasts on the high bar from Leeds that did really well in that previous rotation made some mistakes, but the gymnasts that did really well on the pommel horse, very
Yes.
solid again on the ring. So some incredible gymnastics I'm seeing. We can see from the standings there that Jonas Rushworth is tied in first, and even though he had a mistake on the high bar, he did a loop-in skill, which is an
Jonas.
incredibly difficult skill on the high bar. One
Yes.
of the most difficult, and that helps.
Sayang hindi natin nakikita yung ibang medyo mali yung camera angle nito kasi for example sa isang rotation ito lang ang pinapakita nila, isang apparatus lang dapat palipat-lipat ng camera dapat, kaya medyo mahirap siyang i-appreciate yung yung competition. Sample dito, yung parallel bar kanina, parallel bar lang siya, hindi dapat iniikot-ikot nila yung yung camera. Dapat nakikita din yung floor, nakita yung horizontal bar.
Absolutely crazy when Olympic, world and European medalist Jessica Gadarova makes her return to competition. She's only competing on the beam and the bars. Viewers will know that she had an ACL reconstruction surgery a year ago, which took her out of the Olympics, but she is going to be ready to compete again and try and retain her title. We're going to take a look at Jonas Rushworth's horizontal bars from the last rotation
Jonas.
as our gymnasts start their
Okay.
warm-up. Talk me through this routine, Sam.
Well, it was an incredible routine, Sydney, and what I was looking out for was whether or not he was going to perform the very difficult
Jonas
twist and straight
Rushworth
catch-up skill. I think we're going to get
on the
a
horizontal
chance to see
bar.
it here straight away. So you can see it's an incredibly technical skill. There's so much happening
Wow.
in such a short space of time.
Nice one, Jonas.
Performs it a bit difficult, manages to wrestle through, and the rest of the routine is brilliant. All the way up into
Brilliant.
this dismount
Ang
where
galing
he
ni
has a bit of a
Jonas
mistake and
Rushworth,
puts his
ha?
hands down, but the technique that we're seeing here and the way that these lead
At least
gymnasts
pinakita
are
nila
swinging
yung
the high bar
mga
is
top
incredible. I'm
performers
not
in
surprised.
the apparatus.
We had Ashley Watson and Niall Wilson. Niall Wilson, Olympic medalist on the high bar. That they have this pedigree on this apparatus, but a beautiful routine that we're seeing here from Jonas. He's going to wind up. Look, his goal here
Jonas
is to land the
Rushworth.
dismount and go for that stick bonus. as
Wow,
well.
great job.
That's high praise indeed from the 2021 horizontal
Ay,
bar
sayang,
champion.
yung pag-dismount
It is
lang.
such a difficult piece of apparatus, isn't it, Sam?
It really is, and when you get to the
Sayang,
end of that
sayang.
routine there, Sydney, you know, you're just thinking, just put it on my feet, put it in the right position. But you know, I'm sure he's incredibly tired. He's performed some incredible skills there, and he had
Sayang,
one of the
sayang
highest scores
talaga.
in the first rotation on the parallel bars. So he said to me
Ayan, no?
yesterday that the parallel bars and the high
Sayang.
bar were the
Kung hindi
apparatus that
sana
he
niya
really focused on,
nahahawakan yung
and he
kamay
showed
sa
some
floor.
incredible gymnastics to the audience today.
Yeah, he'll be thrilled with that performance. Obviously a bit gutted with putting his hands down. But, you know, those things, mistakes happen. But as you heard Sol say earlier, that there's still 4 rotations left. There's still a chance to prove themselves and really step up.
And that's the advantage that the men have, Sydney. There's 6 apparatus, right? So Jonas has taken a mistake there on the high bar, but there is still plenty of time, and there's so much that's going to happen. I know that in a moment, this crowd and the audience is going to almost double in
Jonas
volume when the
Rushworth.
girls enter and they start doing their performances on the apparatus. So I'm
Jonas
sure that's gonna help
Rushworth,
again. I think the next routine that we're going to watch is from Jack Stanley. So yeah, we've got another high bar routine here. I think Jack is remounting the bar after a mistake,
Jack.
after a fall. So the high bar is such an incredibly difficult apparatus.
Yeah, very
because,
difficult
you know,
apparatus.
it seems pretty obvious, but you've got to let go and
Oh,
you've got
great
to catch
job.
it. And that high bar is 2.8 meters high, and it's made out of steel. So a very nerve-wracking apparatus to compete on. But it's probably
Mahirap
one
ang
of the
high bar.
apparatus that the audience and the fans and the spectators.
Maganda ang
look
kanyang
forward to.
ano,
I always
pag-handstand
say,
dito,
if it goes well, it looks
rotating,
amazing, and if it doesn't go well, it
or
still
rotation
looks
sa
amazing.
swings.
Well, talk me through that mindset, because you
Dismount.
mentioned Jack had a
Good
fall
job
in
in the
his routine.
dismount.
How do you brace yourself to get back up and get on that bar?
Well, that's an incredible question, Sydney, and I was in that position at the London 2012 Olympic Games in front of 20,000 people and 12 million people watching on TV, and I fell from the high bar, and you have 30
Wow.
seconds to compose yourself, think very quickly about what it is that you're going to do next, and you have to try and stay calm in that situation.
Great job.
So you don't make another mistake. But it's very, very hard to do. It's all about mindset.
Nice one,
But
nice
these guys,
one.
like I said, they train with each other day in, day out, and they learn from some of the very best. And more often than not, they are the gymnasts that came before them, and we've got the likes of Christian Thomas in our commentary box, who has performed that Lucan skill on the high bar and has been in high bar finals himself. So learning from the experience of the gymnasts that you train with in your gym.
Absolutely. And heading back to our commentary box, I know that Katie Foster will be very excited as our female gymnasts head onto the floor. And so in a bit, we'll be able to hear who she's excited by. We'll be focusing on our floor gymnasts first, where we'll be able to see the Roper twins. They're 19, training down at Piper's Vale. And a lot of fans will know of the Gadarovas twins, but the Roper twins are also really making a name for themselves in the Welsh training squad. They'll be
Okay,
eyeing
I
up the
think
Commonwealth Games in 2026.
may
And
mga
Sam, you
girls na
represented
mag-aano
Team
rin
England
dito.
in 2014. How is it different representing GB or England?
That's a great question again, Sydney. All of these gymnasts here will be representing a home nation, so whether that is England, Scotland, Wales, and obviously Ireland as well, and Northern Ireland. Now, the Commonwealth Games is one of the only opportunities you've got to represent that home nation. So for me, I was incredibly proud to represent England at that Commonwealth Games in 2014. And most of the athletes in this arena will have one eye on the Commonwealth Games. So they'll be thinking about this being the first step towards Glasgow, a home Commonwealth Games, an incredible opportunity, and it's going to be very exciting. So I'm excited to see which gymnasts perform well in this first rotation on the floor, and I think we're going to pass over very soon to the commentary box. We're going to hear from Katie and Christian.
Thank you so much, guys. And you're quite right. I am delighted and incredibly excited that we now welcome our WAG gymnasts to this competition arena. I'm sure the audience watching at home might have heard the reaction when Jess Gadarova was announced into this Liverpool M&S Bank Arena, because let me tell you now, it was incredibly loud. There are definitely some fans here who are excited to see her.
I was also thinking, Katie, just how busy the gym felt as soon as all the women gymnasts entered. It certainly felt on the warmth there, just a hive of activity.
For sure, if you're taking part in the touch warm-up on floor when it's the men and the women going together, it's a hive of activity. And thankfully we managed to avoid any collisions during that warm-up. But we've got a very exciting performer starting on the floor. There's no other than Luke Whitehouse from Leeds Gymnastics Club. Olympic floor medalist. Not medalist, sorry, finalist.
Look what Whitehouse now on the floor.
He's a medalist, a double European champion medalist on this apparatus. It's a very experienced.
Wow.
Triple back. Very
Triple
well
back.
performed there. Lots of height, lots of momentum. Good landing as well. And again, excellent work there, combining those front girls. Double twist into the double front.
Great job. Double twist, double
Twist down
front.
the side. Also
Straight
looks like
split.
there's been an addition of the Olympic rings tattoo on his arm. Should imagine that's been new since the Paris Olympics in the summer.
Great job for the Japanese handstand. Tangkad ni Luke
That's 70
Whitehouse.
seconds to perform the routine. There's the 2.5 twist into the straight front.
That's awesome.
Forwards. This is the new addition from the new code and rules that we talked about. Gymnasts have to incorporate their balance into their routine now.
Yes.
Hold that.
You need to
that
incorporate the
balance
balance.
There's a dismount.
Awesome job.
Double twist in all back. Excellent routine there by the
The code
double
of points, you
European
need to
champion,
incorporate that
Luke
balance.
Whitehouse.
Just outstanding air awareness throughout that routine. It was a very minor mistake to the untrained eye in the Paris floor final that kept him out of the medals, but he truly is an outstanding international competitor on this piece of apparatus.
Very outstanding international
What I like about
competitor.
its routine is that it has everything. It has the power skills, it has the somersaults, it has the twists, it has the combinations. Now also
Indeed.
with the balance, so it has a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
Indeed,
any
he is
routine
awesome.
that starts out with a triple back is a-okay by me. We get the first
So
of our,
girls will be
women's
here
artistic
also.
performers now on the floor. This is Tegan Trafford.
Women's
from
artistic
Sonic
gymnastics will be incorporated.
Tegan was a very successful junior athlete and a standout performer here on the floor, opening with a huge full twisting double back
Wow.
somersaults.
So the women's all-around finals
Now notice the
will
girls
be
putting a huge
together
focus
with
on
the
artistry
men's
of these
all-around
routines.
finals.
One of the changes that we've had in our code of points this cycle is additional artistry deductions, and there's a significant focus on musicality. So you'll really see the performers trying to sell their routines.
Nice
making sure that
one.
Style and movements match exactly with the music.
They have a very good one. Wow.
You can see Tegan working
Energized.
hard there through her leap series.
Nice ang
Building the
floor ng mga
difficulty
babae.
using tourgette elements as well as turning change leg leaps. All of these routines have to be cleverly choreographed to make sure the girls have got enough energy left for the big gymnastics
Good
skills,
choreography.
whilst also really selling the performance. You can see she's had a quieter section of dance on the floor and a big shrug of the shoulders as she takes a breath for this last tumble.
Yes, and that's a great
2.5
tumble.
twists, just the pace forwards.
Awesome
A little bit of
one.
leg form in the air on that somersault, so the judges can take a small deduction there.
May mga hindi tayo nakikita na judges na
But a
nakakita.
big wow
Awesome
of a finish and a
job,
fantastic first routine
from
for Tegan Trafford.
Tegan Trafford.
Well, I can let you know that Luke Whitehouse scored 14.15.
14.15 kay Luke Whitehouse.
Certainly will be one of the highest scorers on floor. In fact, it is the highest score right now. But we do have
14.15.
some
So
other
that
pretty
is
impressive
the,
gymnasts who still
if you
to
have
go.
a score of
Yeah, no doubt, we have got some
14.15 sa
big
floor,
performers here on the
so
floor.
you have
And,
a
one of the things
good
with the code of
standing.
points changing is we've got to adjust our mindset a little bit about
Because
what
before
a
you need to
top
have like
score is, haven't we?
14.8,
I guess now the guys that are only
14.9, now
counting 8 skills,
14.15
those
is already
scores
enough.
are going to be a little bit lower than we've been used to seeing.
Definitely, I think where perhaps previously you might have seen the mid-14s, the high 14s being excellent
Good
world-class
one.
scores. Probably reduce that 4 to 5 tenths, which is around about what Luke's scoring today.
That's good one.
Although his teammate here, Michael Goodard, is off to a good start as well on the floor. As
Yes,
double
that's it.
twist backwards down the side.
Handstand.
Showing that strength and balance there. The lift to handstand.
Good strength and
Make sure he holds it
balance.
2 seconds. There's the triple twist.
Medyo mahirap sa floor kasi pagkatapos mahilo-hilo sa
Back
twist
to
mo,
another
isipin mo yung
side pass.
next mo ang gagawin.
Strike back down the side. There's the wide
Balance.
It is a balance, but particularly in the wide position, also involves
The wide
good
position.
range of flexibility as well.
Yun!
And the double pike somersault.
Double
to finish.
pike
Very good
somersault.
routine there by Michael. Perhaps didn't have quite the same level
Michael
of difficulty
Papsin.
as Luke
Nice,
Whitehouse,
nice,
but
nice.
very clean nonetheless.
He did well.
Should score very well.
Very
from
young
that routine.
gymnast.
Definitely happy with that performance on the floor. Greeted by coach Tom Rawlinson and giving a bit of a fist bump to the camera. It's really nice to see these gymnasts satisfied with their performances after all of the hard work and training. Next up, we have one of the Roper twins that Sydney mentioned earlier. This is Abigail Roper.
Abigail Roper.
She's got some great difficulty here on the floor, and I do love this routine, which is a bit of a superhero theme. So we're going to want to see courage and power
It's
to
good.
match that music.
The men's
And
apparatus,
certainly the
women's and
gymnastics.
men's all around are incorporated.
Opening
Wow.
with a big full twisting double tuck.
That's
and
it.
Not a lot the judges will be able to take on that landing either. The female gymnasts have to combine difficult tumbling as well as dance elements to build their start value. And you'll see combination tumbles such as this one, straight front walk
Nice
out through to
combinations of
2.5
tumbles.
twists. The female competitors have to show both forwards and backwards tumbling elements, and they have to decide how best to balance their routine composition to ensure they're ticking the boxes and building the highest difficulty score possible. So you'll often see our gymnasts using a front somersault walkout at the start of a tumble and finishing on a larger end skill to make sure they've ticked the box of having a forward salto in the routine.
Here's the
but
salto
still
now.
building that big difficulty score.
Yun! Great
A
job!
powerful finish there with a lovely double back.
Ang ganda.
And one of the things to note in the women's code of points that has changed this time around is a dismount bonus.
A
So
dismount
when the
bonus.
gymnasts finish their final skill with a D-valued move or higher, they do get a 0.2 bonus.
Point two
Abby
bonus
will
for
have earned
dismount.
That beautiful double tack at the end of
Nice,
that
may
routine.
mga bonus na ngayon ang mga gymnasts.
Well, if we revert back to the previous routine, Michael Goodhart, he scored 13.2. A good score from him. Our next gymnast to take the floor in the men's competition represents Heathrow Gymnastics Club. They're going to quickly switch to the vault first, though. Jake's already performed one vault very cleanly. He's 3.5 twists. One of the few gymnasts in the world to be able to do that.
Jake Jarman on the vault.
His Dragolescu vault.
Yes.
There's a
Oops,
handspring
muntik
double
na.
front With the half turn. Has to take a step
Muntik
back
na.
and just readjust his landing.
Slight
but
step
two
back lang.
excellent vaults by Jake. You can
Excellent.
see why he's one of the best gymnasts in the world on this apparatus.
Yes, one of the best gymnasts in the
For
world.
sure. His air awareness is just
Galing lang ni
unlike...
Jake Jarman.
I think he's a bit tired after that. Yeah, his air awareness is just absolutely superhuman, isn't it? Whether it's the twisting elements or the multiple somersaults, he just seems to know exactly where he is and can find that landing every time.
Indeed, and probably what's quite unique about Jake, he's a very slight gymnast. You can see
Amazing,
that, just the
oh.
height that he gets on that. He's
Galing ni
heels
Jake,
almost
muntik na siyang
together as he
matumba
makes
doon.
contact with the vault as well.
Pero
Judges
it's a
will be
great
looking at
save.
that. Judges also will be making sure that they deduct for the landings and also that awareness in terms of opening out in time to catch the landing as well in that their body position.
And you heard the roar of the crowd just there. That was Jess Gadarova safely through her bar
Jessica
routine.
Gadarova?
She's a very, very popular performer here this afternoon. And hopefully we'll catch her.
Dapat
on
yung
video
camera
just a
na
little
kay
bit
Jessica
later.
na.
Now, next up, it looks like we are going
Hindi
to
ko
see
gusto
our
yung
second
camera,
routine
yung
of the day
director
from
dito.
Joshua Nathan.
Like, Vault lang lahat.
Representing
Within
the
that,
City of Birmingham Gymnastics Club here on the vault.
Well, we've seen Josh on the pommel have an excellent
Joshua
start to
now.
his competition. There you can see
That's
the double
good,
twist.
Joshua.
Stays on his feet. Probably not one of his strongest apparatus, but you can see there, high five from the coach. I think both are happy. I think for them, that's certainly an apparatus that they know is not as difficult as some of these other apparatuses. It's just about safely, securely getting through the vault. And there you can see, up in the air, there's the double twist. You can see it has to pipe down a little bit on the landing. Which we talked about earlier, that body position on the landing doesn't quite have the same height as some of the other gymnasts. So judges will take deductions for that. But it's a clean routine.
It's a tall order for these men to be putting together 6 big routines across the afternoon. And I can only imagine how difficult that is in training. It's hard enough coaching the girls to do 4 pieces, but 6 for the men must make it very difficult. We're just hopping across the floor now, though. This is Erin Broughton from Notts Gymnastics Academy. She was a member of the GB Junior squad in the last year and is a terrific performer on the floor.
That's good, that's good.
And she's done tremendously well to be here this afternoon. She's been
Women's artistic gymnastics on the floor. I love her leotards
pretty
here.
much since last year's British Championships, actually, but she's a fabulous worker on the floor and delighted to see her put that routine cleanly to her feet.
Very clean routine. 1 minute and 28 seconds lang.
She's a big personality in the gym and always
Pero
has
sa
a smile
babae,
on her
wala
face.
silang binawas, wala
No
din
doubt
dinagdag
coaches,
na kailangan
Jodie
bawasan
Hyman,
yung
Sarah
yung
Middleton will be
difficulty.
happy to see
Sa
her
lalaki lang,
successful performance
inanuhan
here
lang,
in
binawasan ng difficulty kasi pataas ng difficulty ng mga lalaki. So kailangan magbawas ng instead of 10, 8 na lang para hindi masyadong mapagod yung mga lalaki.
You can see there, that's Ramel running back from the vault. We've seen him on the pommel horse earlier. He's just completed the handspring double front. He was cleanly through. There's a little wave to it in the audience. And here we get to see a replay of his vault. Strong run up.
Okay, Rochi. Nice,
You
Rochi.
can see very quickly accelerates from that vaulting table into the somersault position. 2 somersaults in the hair from the handspring position.
That's a good execution.
Absolute
Very
pure
nice.
power there down the vault run. And I can only imagine he excels on the floor as well with power like that.
Certainly one of his stronger apparatus. You get a good look here. Just all the activity that's going on. We told you there was a lot going on. Sometimes difficult to capture exactly who to be watching next.
Yeah, there are a lot of superstar gymnasts around the arena right now. Jemima Taylor over on the beam for Team Wales. Okay, looks like we're going to catch the conclusion of that floor routine.
Well, that was Trig Dudley from Heathrow Gymnastics Club completing his floor routine.
Heathrow, another
They are
team
all
that had a
doing
very
well
busy
here.
weekend of competition here in Liverpool, represented on both the men's and women's artistic sides.
Nice din na 8 na lang ang ginagamit nila.
Standing there
Or
with his
ano
coach,
ginagamit
Tom
nila para
Barnes.
hindi masyado mapagod ng mga gymnasts at they can
And here from
show
Sheffield
more of their
Workshop, we've
difficulty.
got Nina Deary taking it to the floor.
Let's watch. Kung may lalakas pa kay Jessica. Nice
Very
one.
lovely double tuck back
Courtney
somersaults.
Tolok will be doing a parallel bar. The
All of the
men's.
gymnasts that you can see here today have had to qualify to this championships via their home nation
Yeah.
competition.
Oh, home nations. Because British, Great Britain is having a national championship too. Like English Championship, Wales. Yeah.
So they really are the cream of the crop.
Sayang.
A tidy
Kamali siya.
twist for her second tumble.
47 minutes, seconds. I think we're having needs 1 minute and 28 seconds to perform.
Senior competition will be hoping to tally up lots of C and D value elements in order
That's
to
it. Wow, sayang, muntik ka na.
ready for their routines.
It's a great save. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and share to KSRD Gymnastics. Thank you very much. Kulang lang sa energy. Yung connection value niya, for me, medyo mababa.
A lovely clean performance on the floor.
Dapat kay Courtney na ilagay. Yung parallel bar ni Courtney.
So it's a very busy arena here, isn't it? You can go from having moments of quiet to all the apparatus going, and now we're kind of back to a moment of quiet again. Just Courtney Tulloch over on his own on the P-bars over there.
I think at any given point we've got world-class gymnastics, which I think is the most important bit, and certainly what the audience are here to see. Our next gymnast on the floor, representing Leeds, Jack Stanley. Beautiful double twist.
Beautiful one.
Kicked out as well, so that's 2 somersaults and 2 twists in the tuck position. And again, another clean landing, 2.5 twists
that's
backwards,
good, that's good.
immediately into the straight front. 2.5
Ay!
forwards.
Nangyari kay Courtney.
Take a jump to the side.
Yung ano ni Courtney, yung pag-dismount niya na ano siya, nagkamali siya.
Lift the handstand. Showing good balance.
Men's floor
His
now.
moment here to capture his breath as well.
Dapat ganun, dapat umiikot ang camera, hindi na sa floor lang lahat na.
During the floor routine, it's only 70 seconds. You don't get too many opportunities to do that.
Okay.
Good 3.5 twist backwards.
Good one.
By Jack. Solid landing as well. Certainly packing the difficulty in.
Yan. Very good.
It's not too bad either. The triple twist down the side as a side pass. Usually a lot of gymnasts tend to finish with that as a dismount.
Oh.
And then the double arrive.
Awesome one, awesome.
Finish. Could see just starting to run out of steam a little bit towards the end, but managed to fight it. Stay on his feet. You can see there he looks exhausted.
Yeah, medyo exhausted na siya.
It's definitely a test of stamina, isn't it? A floor routine. It's back-to-back tumbling.
Yeah, floor
for,
routine's
just
test of
over a
his
minute.
stamina.
It's like a 70-second sprint.
Indeed, and each one of those tumbles takes everything you need, 100% effort and momentum and power
Each
into all of
tumble
those
needs
tumbles.
100%
So to do
effort.
multiple big tumbling, such as Jack was doing there, it's no easy feat.
Women,
Now, you may think
the
you've
floor.
been done here, but this is the other
Magkasalitan
of
ng
the
men's
twins. This is
tsaka
Emily Roper. We saw
women.
her sister Abby just a few moments ago on the floor. Emily, also a member of the Welsh long list for the Commonwealth Games team.
Yeah, Commonwealth. Alam ko ngayong taon na to mag-Commonwealth Games or kaya next year. Baka next year yata. Ay, sayang. Deductions nagpunta dun sa red line. Gym Nova, ito rin yung mga ginamit doong World Championship ng mga gamit.
Change half and popping the poker leaf on the end of there as well. A smart way to build some difficulty without taking up too much more time in the routine. As Emily works towards her second tumble.
Nice. Good tumble. Although kanong pa-basic lang, pero pwede na. Pwede. Medyo mahirap din gawin dyan eh. Not that as easy as we think.
Quite a different style of
Roper
music to
Emily.
her sister's routine earlier, but moving well with the music. As she opts for a
Oops.
sky-high
Good
jump
one.
for her dismount.
Nice ang kanyang paglaland.
Dismount bonus. An extra point two added to the gymnast start value in this code of points.
Yes, that's good.
And a very clean and tidy routine.
Yes,
Lead
very
Emily
clean,
Roper.
tidy routine.
I'm sure both sisters are going to be delighted with that first rotation of competition.
Even me will be delighted with that.
I'm loving their leotards as well. Very sparkly. They look like strong, powerful uniforms for the girls to be wearing as they battle their way around this Liverpool arena. It's a big thing for the girls, Chris, these leotards for the British Championships. They get the
It's good
impression
to
that
see
boys
them
don't
all.
just wear their kind of standard club kit.
I think you'd be correct. There's probably not quite so much the meticulous planning that goes into it as you see on the women's side.
Oh yeah, months of planning to get it right.
He's our current leader, Jonas Rushworth from Leeds.
Ah,
There's a double twisting double back.
good to see that one.
Nearly through. There's certainly plenty of height. There's a double
Awesome
crunch somersault.
job.
Catches the landing well.
Nice
Double
twisting.
twist down the side.
Oops.
See just the
A good
slight
handstand.
twist
Ay,
there.
sayang,
Again, also
sayang.
it's
Go,
a nice
bro.
handstand.
Yeah, nice push.
Does well. Does well to fight. Make sure carries on with his routine. There's a 2.5 twist into the straight.
Good one, good one, good one. This is a years of practicing. Oops, yung kanyang balance.
Opting for a slightly
Di
different
masyadong
balance,
sluggish yung
apparatus,
balance niya.
rather than the Y balance that we've seen a lot of so far.
Kailangan mas maayos yung
Towards the
balance.
back end of his routine now. Almost time for the dismount. There's a double pike somersault.
Yan, good one.
Clean routine there by Jonas. He was in top spot. or
Yes,
joint top
it's
spot, I
a
should
clean
say, sorry,
routine.
before
Talaga.
this event.
Talaga naman clean
He'll be
routine
there
siya.
or thereabouts still amongst the medals after floor as well.
He's definitely a contender, isn't he? He did really well with a couple of the landings there. Could have easily taken a larger step or a bigger deduction, but actually was very composed in how he handled those landings.
He was, I think, the only sort of mistake really was that stutter into handstand. You can see there, the cheer, double fist, the tongue gate. He seems happy enough with it though. That's all that matters.
Another exciting round of competition there. Some fantastic scores of
Now we will be having now the third rotation.
But, a very exciting comeback for Jessica Gadarova, who performed on the bars. Going to take a look at the boys.
So men senior all around. Goddard Michael now. Levis Jamie in the second. Nathan Joshua on the third. Luke Whitehouse on the fourth. Tobin Adam the fifth. And six Sam Mustafi. Edith Vernon. 8 is Cameron Lin.
But as you can see, it's tight at the top, and there's still everything to play for.
Also worth noting that we are still waiting for Jonas Rushworth floor scores to come in, so therefore not quite amongst the medals just yet, but I'm sure he will be.
Yes, I've no doubt he'll be up there when the scores come in. So it's been an exciting round of competition. Sydney, you're quite right. I was delighted to see the women take to the floor. How do you find that rotation of competition?
I think I found it just as exciting as you did.
Exciting.
It was jam-packed, wasn't it, Sam? We're trying to keep up with all the action, but with each piece of apparatus in play, the excitement never stops for the fans in here. We ended there with Jonas Rushworth on the floor. How impressive has he been, Sam?
He's been incredibly impressive, and we talked about the mistake he had there at the end of his high bar routine in the last rotation. Very important after a mistake like that to put it to bed, focus on the next apparatus, and he came out with a great floor routine on his own, the whole arena watching him, which is a nerve-wracking place to be, but a great routine.
It's indeed
And we
a
saw
very
some
great routine.
unbelievable performances from both the men and the women. We saw Jake on vault score a 15.1. I'm pretty confident that will be the highest score of the day. And Luke Whitehouse with the triple back on floor doing an amazing routine. But we also had the introduction of the women as well.
Yeah, I think the crowd and everybody at home will be thrilled with Jessica Gadarova's return to the competition, and it absolutely did not disappoint. She started on the uneven bars, and I think we'll be able to take a look at her routine now. But she just showed sheer confidence, didn't she, Sam? She was just committed to the routine, and viewers will know that she had an ACL injury, which kept her out for over a year, but obviously with that kind of injury, bar work is something that she could have improved on. We can see her coach, Josh, there from Aylesbury Gymnastics Club, stepping in just to support
Jessica
her.
Gadarova.
She
Wow.
needs to deliver on that
It's good to see
routine.
Jessica here
Coaching setup at
on the
Aylesbury's
horizontal
Josh
bar.
Assistant duo at
Uneven
Children's,
bar.
an exciting dynamic.
Nice one, Jessica.
Club, but you can just
Very
see her
energetic.
smile on her face, and the crowds were going absolutely crazy, giving them away.
Having the from 2023, she
Into
got
the
an
final
injury
score.
from the World Championship
Incredibly
in the
difficult
same
to see, and to come
arena.
back from an ACL reconstruction like that is a massive, massive challenge. and
Yeah,
one that she will
ACL
have worked
reconstruction.
very closely with her
Ang
coaching
galing.
team and also her
I'm so
support
proud
team
of
as
Jessica
well. They play a key
Gadarova.
role in a comeback like that. But for me, the big thing that stood out watching her routine was just that rock-solid confidence. I was completely assured that she was going to go through that routine, and the style, the beauty, you know, she did maybe somewhat of a basic dismount for her that we're used to seeing her at the Olympic Games. I'm sure that's got something to do with her knee, but I'm very excited now for her to go straight onto the balance beam. So she's in that great position of being able to go from one apparatus straight to the other. There's no long wait.
Awesome job for
And very
Jessica.
excellent to see her on the beam as well.
Yeah, for viewers that don't know, the Olympic order gymnasts that have just competed on bars will be moving straight to the beam. So like you said, that adrenaline is high. And we'll hopefully see another fantastic routine for her because it's an exciting weekend to build up to this. She finished second on beam at the English Championships just a few weeks ago to qualify for this event. So I'm sure we have something very exciting in store. We also had Grace Davis up on the bars representing Robin Hood Gymnastics.
Grace
Club.
Davis.
She's currently sitting in third position with a
Oh, third position siya.
12.05. Sam, what do you make of this routine?
Nice one sa
From the
uneven
start,
bar.
we're seeing a great release and catch. So she
Nice,
doesn't like Jaeger,
handstand.
she catches her perfect length. So when
Galing.
you're watching these releases, you want the gymnast catching
Good
just
release,
in the right
catch-
spot. You don't want
catch
to be
up.
too close, they obviously don't want to be too far away. And this is a very, very solid routine. She wants to be trying to hit
Yeah,
the
but yung
handstand
handstand doon hindi
every
masyadong
single one of her
nagawa.
turns, but a great routine
Yeah, it
so
should be
far
like
from
that.
Grace.
Nagmadali masyado
Now,
sa
just getting
ibang
ready for
sa
the
ibang
She's going to wind up
difficulty.
that momentum. And a double straight, a really beautiful technique there on that double straight.
Yeah, indeed, a very beautiful
Yeah,
technique.
great start for Grace there.
She'll be absolutely thrilled with that, and hopefully we'll see plenty more of it in rotation 4, and we'll pass you back over
Yes,
to our
rotation 4 na after.
Well, lots more gymnastics to see in this
So
arena.
coming out to rotation
The
4.
gymnasts, as you mentioned, have moved around, and Jess has got quite a quick competition
Pero
today.
sayang
She's
no,
on the
hindi
bars, and
masyadong
she's,
magaling
straight
yung
over to the
cameraman.
beam, so her competition will be done in a flash. But the competition's starting to build nicely, and some successful routines in that first rotation for our top contenders in the women's competition. So I'm excited to see what's yet to come.
Well, we referenced finishing with Jonas Rushworth on floor. He did score 12.7 on the floor, which has put him in amongst it. Not quite in the medals at the minute. He's just sitting outside it in 4th position. Both are worth mentioning. Adam Tobin is quietly, confidently sitting there in 6th, sort of moving about his business and climbing through the ranks as well.
It's worth saying you do see quite a change in the standings when the men get to vaults, don't you? So typically quite a high score on that piece of apparatus, so until they've been there, they'll often sit a little bit lower in the rankings, then sneak their way up.
Definitely, we've always seen that, and I know in this code they have tried to adjust for that accordingly by lowering some of the vault tariffs, particularly now because the other apparatus, we've only got 8 skills, so therefore the scores will be lower, so vault also has to match and mirror that as well.
So here we are over on the beam.
On the beam now.
It's Emma Candelova from Tolworth Gymnastics Club, a gymnast who's dealt with quite a lot of injury in the last couple of years, but was a successful junior and represented Great Britain at the Junior European Championships. You can see she's just composing herself her dismount.
Nice dismount. Ay, sayang. Kung may nag-stick siya doon, may plus 2 points siya. 0.2 points.
On the floor by her coach Carla, who is always a massive character.
Yes,
here at these British
good one.
Championships. You can often see her dancing or cheering along with whatever's going on in the arena. But she's a
May music na baka copyright anuhin natin.
Emma looks pretty chuffed with that routine too.
So pasensyahan nyo na ako that nagsalita ako dito kasi I need to speak here because YouTube requires it.
Lots of the same clubs and gymnasts for a number of years, and it really is nice to see the gymnast camaraderie on the competition floor.
We could also see that
Marami na ring seniors, juniors na nasa seniors na ngayon.
probably gives you a good idea of how happy coaches are when they see their gymnasts get through a beam routine.
For sure, don't get me wrong, it's the gymnasts doing the hard work, but the coaches are the ones that are losing sleep at night thinking about how they can construct a routine correctly. And, you know, they're putting in an incredible amount of hard work too to
Yeah,
get these athletes.
the coaches will construct the
As an
routines.
experienced coach yourself, what's it like being out there as a coach rather than a competing gymnast?
I mean, when it goes to plan, it's lovely. When all of that kind of plan comes to fruition and you get a gymnast who does the business on the day, you just feel a great sense of pride and excitement for them that they've been able to deliver on what you had planned.
Wow! Oh my God! Diyos ko po!
This is Tilly
Muntik
Wright,
na.
from Robin Hood Gymnastics Club. She is a member of the GB squad system and has been for the last few years. And typically
Diyos
this is a piece
ko.
of apparatus where Tilly performs very well.
Magaling din
There's nothing quite like the
ang
pressure
mga
being
taga
up
Great
there on
Britain,
the
ha?
beam at a British Championships.
Parang nasa Worlds din.
Leotard on here as well today, shining bright in a stunning red Leo. And super work.
Nice one, nice one.
Series So you'll often see the gymnasts trying to build their difficulty by connecting multiple skills together. You can get a triple
Muntik
series
na. May
bonus.
deductions for
She
that.
certainly have earned that with that stunning acro series
Okay.
in the routine. Struggling a little bit to connect some leaps though, and how to do
Yeah,
so
medyo
quite
nahihirapan
swiftly
siya sa mga
to ensure
connections
she's
niya.
still meeting the requirement of
Hindi
having a
ganun
leap
ka-smooth.
series. You'll see the gymnasts have to join 2 leaps together, at least one of which must show 180
Yan,
degree
that's
splits.
good.
So Tilly
Parang walang
Batts
NCAA
coming in, but doing very well
ang
to stay
British
on
as a...
first.
Wow, muntik na oh.
The judges will certainly be putting their pen to paper when they see these wobbles. They can choose
Ah,
whether
mga
to
wobbles
take
tawag
0.1,
doon.
0.3 or 0.5 deductions for those breaks. And I think there's probably a couple of 0.3s in there which will
Woo!
to her overall score.
That's it. If
But
she stuck it,
she did
then
manage to stay on the
maybe a
apparatus.
plus
At the end of the day,
0.2
that is the name of the
points.
game. So whilst not her cleanest performance, hopefully she's satisfied that she stayed
Yeah,
on
hope
the beam.
satisfied siya doon.
I think for me, just watching and appreciating how thin that beam is.
You're right, just
Good
standing on the
twisting.
beam gives you that confidence.
That's a good
particularly going
confidence
into the next
and nice
apparatus.
routine.
Absolutely. Just wondering where
Jessica Gadirova now on the balance
Of course, we've got to
beam.
stay on the beam, haven't we? Because we have the one and only Jessica Gadirova coming up next.
Hindi ako sanay na magsuot siya ng white na leotard.
Jess is going because the noise and the volume that this audience is creating is really quite something.
Mahilig ang mga taga-Liverpool sa gymnastics.
There is a lot of gymnastics going on all over the competition floor. Now we saw Josh with Jess on the bars. We get to see Molly with her on the beam. As Sydney mentioned, a brother and sister coaching duo doing a fantastic job at Aylesbury Gymnastics Academy. We enjoyed a tremendous amount of success over the last cycle. And of course, taking that historic team medal in Tokyo. Both Jess and Jen Gadirova were, of course, there. So Jess had a
So that's
successful
Jessica Gadirova.
at the English Championships a couple of weeks ago, but did take a penalty because of a British rule around needing to have a minimum of a B dismount from the beam. So I'm expecting that we might see an upgrade from Jess here today, just to protect her from receiving that same deduction here at the British Championships.
Nice one. Ouch! That we consider as full.
Quite a big break there, bending over and
Yeah.
catching the beam is a significant deduction, but quite an ambitious.
Significant deduction siya. Consider as full.
Change half.
Good one. Nice one, Jess.
A little bit of that spin, just a tiny amount. So the squat turns are a very popular choice on the beam and have been in recent years. Going for an ambitious triple there, but I think the judges will.
That's good one, Jess.
Because the rotation slowed down quite significantly before she completed the third rotation.
Ito sana magkakalaban sa sa Olympics
Exceptional gymnast when it comes to the acrobatics, though.
Jessica,
And trying to dance her way through her beam here.
Andrade, and
Really smart and try and cover up
Simone.
wobbles with a little bit of extra.
Sila dati magkakalaban sa Olympics.
Just how much they want to deduct. whether
Sayang.
it's truly a wobble,
Ay, wala talaga.
but unfortunately, no hiding that one. Just comes away from the apparatus, and it will be a full mark deduction.
Doon, 0.5 lang ang deductions. Pero pag nahulog ka na,
To the pressure and the experience of competing here at this British Championships in an arena for the first time in competition in quite some time. And securely through
Great
this,
job,
so
Jessica.
disappointed there, but it really
may
is all about
plus
building
0.2 points doon kasi stick to the floor yung kanyang dismount.
I think let's not forget the significance of her injury. An ACL injury is, certainly one of the more significant, should we say. But it's great to see her back nonetheless.
Ay, sayang.
That full twist into the dismount
May
this time
counting
round,
hoop
which
lang.
is tick the box
Counting
of
kaunti.
being a B value skill. So yeah, Jess has been working incredibly hard over the last 12 months. Has done an extraordinary amount of rehab to ensure that that knee is going to be working for the long term, because heaven knows she wants to be in LA 2028. Okay, so heading
Yes.
over to the bars, this is Shantae from Bristol Hawks, and she has got some really impressive moves here on the bars. She was a member of the Junior Europeans team last year and is a first-year senior competitor. Smoothly through the sharp half. And did you notice the little hop change there as she moves into her endo skill? Oh, that was such a shame.
Oh,
Just came out a little
sayang,
bit too
nahulog
early and
siya.
not able to complete the move across the bar. You can see Coach Rory just having a chat with her there to decide what she needs to do. So her endo, she hopped her hands and moved into a different grip. And one of the things that the gymnasts have to show is a forward element on the bars. So I think you can see the judges there in the background deciding, did that endo skill go far enough around in order for it to count as that forward skill?
Wow.
Or does she have an alternative to
Ang lakas nito,
place?
oh. Nasobran sa power lang.
Two releasing catch elements though.
Yun, ang lakas niya eh. Sayang, no? Kung hindi na sana siya nagkamali,
So it'll be interesting to see what happens with her start value there.
kailangan lang talaga minsan i-control mo yung power mo.
She's going to be an exciting gymnast to watch in the years to come as we proceed towards LA 2028.
And here you go for the men's in the rings.
Switch over now to Adam Tobin on the rings.
Adam Tobin on the rings.
Coach at Nottingham Gymnastics Club. Thrown him up onto the rings. Transitioned just over 12 months ago. 2 knots.
Awesome
Got a
job.
larger training group now.
Oh, yung iron cross niya hindi masyadong pantay.
All those other
Need
gymnasts
to
have
work out
helped
that
improve
Adam
them.
Tobis.
That team environment can be so important. Rings probably not one of his strongest.
Adam
apparatus,
Tobin.
But a good stock routine.
Sayang.
Very clean in the swinging elements and into the handstand.
And that's your go with the handstand.
Again, has to catch the handstand position.
Great job, Adam Tobin. Actually, Adam Tobin is
In the tuck position.
was qualified for the ring finals. The score of 12.2.
Routine there. As we get the opportunity to flash back over to Beam, and it's going to be Grace Davis from Robin Hood Gymnastics Club. Grace has
Kulit na pangalan, Robin Hood Gymnastics Club.
She's got a broad repertoire of skills that she can perform on this apparatus. She's got a bit of a different acro series that I believe she will be competing here this afternoon. So she'll be locking in and concentrating hard to deliver a great performance. And quickly there through her leap series, linking directly out of her mount, the change leg leap onto the beam. Now all of the gymnasts have to show work low to the beam. So you'll see that they will get down low and show a bit of choreography or perhaps a skill. And readying herself here for this acrobatic series. Round off straight back.
Nice one, nice one.
Now she will incur a slight deduction, I think, because there was a bit of a concentration pause before that element. But you can see why she wanted to be clear on what she was doing. A very difficult skill indeed, and beautifully performed.
Woo!
Standing layout leg.
Grabe.
Just a break
Muntik
in
na.
the trunk there as she landed. The beam, of course, is a very thin piece of apparatus. So the girls have to concentrate incredibly hard, and if they're even slightly out of
Wow, ay, Diyos ko, wag. Oh, great job. Buti na lang hindi nahulog.
Grace there. Much like her teammate we saw earlier, Tilly, though, she is fighting to stay on the beam, and just the dismount now to go.
Stick.
Round off. Double
Good.
excellent.
0.2 additional.
Barely any movement from the feet.
Meron siyang additional.
Her face, she's a little bit disappointed with all of those wobbles, but great fight from Grace there. And a great
Yeah,
show
may
of
mga
hand
bobos
holding.
kasi so deductions yun eh.
Well, we quickly
On the rings
move over to the
now.
rings where we have Hamish Carter.
Amish Kashta.
Nottingham Gymnastics Club.
Sayang.
There's the kick to Maltese position.
Hamish
So ideally, you
Kashta.
can hold that a little bit longer.
Wala dito. Pangit yung mga form
Again,
niya. Oh.
there's a swing into the top planche, another strength position, lowers into the cross. All these elements, ideally you want to make sure they're as
Yamawaki
static as
too.
possible and hold it for
Handstand,
1.2
arcing,
seconds.
deductions then?
Good swinging elements there.
From Scotland siya.
Tuck and pipe position. Giannis and Yamwake having to fight there. You can see the arch in his back. He's having to fight really hard to make sure he stays the right side of the rings. And into a double twisting double back. Cleanly through from Hamish.
Double twisting double back.
Isn't he, Hamish? He went over to the USA.
My God, inantok na ako. Actually, I have work later.
And another Scot who'll be fighting for a place on that Commonwealth team next year. So right now on the bars, this is Georgia Stables from Horsham Gymnastics Club. She's got some great difficulty here. Beautiful toe catcher straight down into the pack somersault.
Indeed.
Working well with the Shap half. You can see the coach just stood under the bars to give her a little bit of extra confidence and safety in that transition. Swiftly through the full turn and building up now for the dismount.
Awesome job.
And a tidy double back somersault. Georgia's got some great difficult skills across all the apparatus. And you can see the smile on her face. She is certainly happy to have gone from A to B with that bar routine. And a hug from the coach too. A really, really outstanding performance here.
Ang mga girls are doing well in their apparatuses too.
I know we've got two coaches there from Horsham supporting
Nice leotard. I love the leotard.
Also nice to see that camaraderie between the gymnasts as well. I think it's an appreciation of the work of the gymnastics, the hard work that goes on behind the scenes. So seeing your competitors also compete well, I think everybody
Really could be going now with the
appreciating all that the work that goes into it.
For sure, nobody knows better how much hard work it is
mounting.
than the gymnast in the same shoes. As we head over to Beam, this is Izzy Priestley from
Izzy
the
Priestley.
Gymnastics Club. Izzy was a member of the Junior Europeans team once again and is a bit of a specialist on the vault, but also has some great work to show here on the beam.
Oh, vault specialist din siya.
Personality in her floor routine and will no doubt be looking to show similar artistry qualities here on the beam.
Similar artistry. Very artistic. Nice job! Woo! Very smooth transition of the flares.
Acrobatic series straight off the bat.
Good one.
Does well to move through the change leg into change half leap series. And a fantastic finish position there on the free cartwheel, chest upright. And the judges aren't going to have a lot to take away there.
Very well.
The gymnasts have to show movement forwards and sideways on the beam. An unusual skill coming up here at the back of
That's
the
good,
hand.
that's good, that's good.
It's certainly been popularised in the last code of points as it was upgraded to having a C difficulty value.
Mahirap ang balance beam eh.
Using it either on its own or in
Ito yung
combination.
kumbaga sa laki
And
Pommel
bonus
horse,
points.
maraming nagkakamali sa balance beam, sa laki naman Pommel horse.
Just having
Dismount,
a quick think before this dismount coming up.
eh, sayang.
Tiny double twist to finish, just the
May
face
counting
back, but a
step
clean and
backward
successful
and that
routine
will
and
be a
there.
deductions. If you stick additional.
And there's a lot of happy coaches around this arena today, aren't there? Lots of great performances and everyone's looking pretty happy to be here, I'd say.
Yeah, that is a positive reinforcement. Like, if may stick addition, if may stick sa landing, additional 0.2 points. If hindi may stick, deduction. So, make it at the point that you will stick on your landing. Nice one.
It doesn't happen all too often.
No, I don't think you can understate how much of a special experience it is to
Yeah,
participate
those ladies
in
now in
British
the
Championships.
floor.
As someone that's been to lots of European and World Championships before, you can attest the fact that British gymnastics really do put on a show, don't they, for these gymnasts?
Absolutely, and I think I might have referenced it earlier. What we see here in terms of the
Sayang lang.
audience, in terms of
Maybe we can,
in terms of showcasing and raising the profile of the sport.
kasi ang daming ano eh.
2 rounds of competition in this particular category. So there will be some people chasing those top spots, no doubt.
Upper arms, and we're going to see Jamie's routine. Now, Jamie had to fight through this routine a little bit, but when you're doing an all-around
Jamie.
competition, that's one of the most important things. if you get to an apparatus where it's a
The
little bit of
parallel
a struggle,
bar.
can you get from start
Let's
to
keep on
finish?
the men's artistic gymnastics.
And Jamie obviously had a really strong competition at the English Championships earlier, a few weeks ago, earlier this year, posting an absolutely huge score of 82. But you mentioned this
Wow,
three-week
Jamie.
gap would have been
Jamie
really
is
nerve-wracking
doing well.
for him.
And I spoke to Jamie yesterday and I asked him about
Jamie
that
in the
expectation.
parallel
He
bar.
scored that huge score and everybody was talking about in the podium training that he seemed confident. And everybody that I spoke to felt that he had a really good
He
chance
is
of winning
not
this competition. So
included in
for
the
Jamie, it's about getting through from start to
top
finish. He had
8.
to fight a little bit there on the Makut skill, which is a very technical skill. But he did really, really well. Now, Jamie finishes with a
Ang
double
dami
front
niyang
dismount on the
adjustment
parallel
eh.
bars. Again, he had to pull it through.
Reductions are
But like I
massive
said,
kay
it's all
Jamie.
about going from start to finish in these routines.
Good job, Jamie.
And our men's gymnasts will have 2 more rotations to get through. But what will they be thinking at
2
this
more
point in the
rotations for
competition,
men's
Sam? They'll be
gymnasts.
starting to tire. How do you get yourself in this right headset?
Well, they're going to be getting into the business end of the competition. And at this point, with the
Daming
competition
ladies eh.
so close, this is where experience plays a part. Now, whether that's the experience of the gymnast or
Ipo-forward natin so that mapanood natin yung sa men's gymnastics.
You can see there the coaches just reiterating a couple of the coaching points and some of the little jitters and not necessarily errors, but some of the things that
Have
the coaches
here
certainly picked up throughout the routine.
Still rings.
I'm going to switch over to the rings now. This is Jonas Rushworth.
Jonas
Again, being
Short.
one of the younger gymnasts in this senior men's competition.
Oh, pinaka-bata
You
siya.
wouldn't expect him to necessarily have the same level of strength as some of the older gymnasts. That comes with that maturity, with that age and strength development. We can see that
Yung handstand
certainly
niya
relies
medyo
on some elements, which he
malikot.
does very, very well, very cleanly. Got a good handstand line. And there again.
There you
Handstand
go.
position. Nice dismount, the double twist in back. Had to take a big step forward to make sure that he stayed balanced. So it won't be a massive score for Jonas.
Sayang.
He will have known that as well.
Nagkamali sa Pommel
That
horse.
might be one of his highest scoring apparatus, but he's cleanly through, and that's what matters.
Luke Whitehouse will be
Certainly is,
performing in
Especially when they then have
the
6 pieces of apparatus, it's very difficult to be a master of
rings.
all. So you do often get these gymnasts who maybe
Luke
specialise in one piece
Whitehouse
and aren't naturally
was-
so strong on another. And
Is
that's
he included
a lot
in the
defined by their
rings
physique as well,
final?
like you mentioned. That, you know, a more slight gymnast isn't necessarily built to
no,
be a
not
superstar
included in
on
the
the
ring
rings.
finals.
Absolutely, and I think we're going to stick with the rings.
But in the all around,
Again, with
he
the
did a good
Gymnastics Club.
score.
Olympian Luke Whitehouse. You can see there Tom Rawlinson, the coach, making sure that the gymnast gets the grip right at the start for skills such as that. There's the Azarian to cross.
Good iron cross for Luke Whitehouse.
Good position, shoulders level with the rings, or his hands even. And there's the Honma to cross again. Really important that arrival into those strength positions is what the judges are looking for.
Yung waki to handstand medyo malikot lang. Stable
Good
it.
element skills. And also the backwards giant, well held. Here's the dismount. It should be a big one. Triple
Out,
back.
sayang.
You could see there.
Napaupo si Luke
Wasn't just
Whitehouse.
able to hold that landing so much
Grabe.
height, so much
Sayang yung
rotation.
landing niya, oh.
It does become very difficult. And he has had a bruised heel that he's been trying to maintain for the last few weeks to try and get fit for this competition. So I should imagine that doing a triple back landing onto the rings mat
Sayang.
isn't necessarily ideal for that bruise.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a
May bruise.
significant impact when you're coming down from that high, never mind with a triple somersault.
There's a significant amount of sparkles going on.
Oh, there absolutely are. The more sparkles, the better. You've got to dazzle the judges. That's the bit the boys are missing out on. Blind the judges with the bling, and you never know. They might not notice that extra step.
You know, here a man in the floor.
Looks like we're going to be sticking with the floor. Our next gymnast, Danny Crouch.
Danny Crouch in the floor.
Club. So you might recognise
Danny
the club
Crouch.
name. Home to Max Whitlock. Multiple
Also
Olympic
Max
champion.
Whitlock, yeah. Wow.
Ball twist in double straight. Just has to take a hop forward. Into his second tumbling pass. There's the running
Nice.
double
Spike.
pipe somersault. Very difficult.
Double peg
to get
somersault.
the height
Eh,
and
mahirap
the
yun.
rotation from that running position.
Good double twisting.
That's nice though. The double twist down the side.
And double twisting on the side.
See there. Takes a big breath.
Wow, good job.
That's good work as well. The 2.5 twist backwards into the straight front 1.5 turn forwards.
2.5 to plus 1.5 twisting. Oh, sayang. Hold forward.
To the 2.5 twist forwards.
2.5 twist
opting to
forward.
from the running position as opposed to from a handspring. And there's the triple Russian skill.
Russian skills was there.
Acrobatic element. Into that balance position.
Balance position. Nice one.
Arabesque.
Good balance
See
position.
there. Big shrug of the shoulders. Ready for the final tumble.
Wow!
Double pike
Oh my
somersault.
God.
You can see they had plenty of height but just opened out a little bit too early.
Sayang.
Therefore,
Sayang,
meant
oh.
he had to lean forward and unfortunately put his hands
Unfortunately.
down, incurring
Sana okay
a
lang
big
siya.
deduction for it. It was clean up to that point.
Diyos ko, nasugatan ba?
And you mentioned the arabesque skill there just before the end. That,
Sakit to.
that scale
Yung
element
legs
is the
niya, oh,
requirement
hindi
for
masyadong
the
develop
performance
yung
series
muscles.
recommend. And
That's
it's,
why most of the
been
gymnasts
received with mixed
that
opinions, I
doesn't
think
have
it's fair
a
to say.
well-developed
Yeah, I'd
legs
say so.
muscles.
I think it's
They are
something we
prone for
haven't
injury
had to
and
see because gymnasts haven't been required to do it in
unstable
previous,
landing.
Olympic cycles.
He
That's
needs
secret
to
this
improve
time,
more
so I'd
his
like to
legs
think
muscles.
please
See
don't
the
like
legs
change.
muscles. If you can see
Gymnasts
the legs
are part
muscles,
of that,
not that well
family,
developed
and
in
then
compared to the
adding
other
an element
gymnasts.
or adding a skill in that perhaps doesn't feel quite as substantial as some of the other tumbling passes. I can see why they struggle to adapt to it.
Yeah, for sure. Like that call, you can see we've got two line judges who are sat in opposite corners of the floor, and she went out of bounds on the corner that's the furthest away from both of them. So you really have to use
Next
your
we
best
have here
judgment, and
Layat
the rule is
Ali.
always, as a
Sorry?
judge, is to give the benefit of the doubt to the gymnast. So it might be a 1,
Is
it
she?
might be a 3. We'll have to wait and see what penalty.
Nice
they
one.
score.
Great job, boy.
Well, one thing for certain, Oakley Banks certainly stayed in the floor on
Oakley
that
Bank.
tumble. 3.5 twists, quite an unusual start.
Ay,
to the routine,
sayang,
but
oh.
Excellent tumbles.
Stepping forward.
However, on his second tumbling pass, you could see that step forward and also over onto the red part of the floor, which is where you get the deduction. And
Yan,
again,
nagkaroon na siyang
same
deductions
again
dun.
there. Very difficult work though. The 3.5 twist down the side, so you get less run up when it's a side tumble, which makes it extremely difficult
Awesome
to
one.
fit in the tumble and also the landing without taking a step. Oakley now just settling into the routine, giving them a chance, have a bit of a breather.
Good transition to the handstand. Ito din, di
Yeah,
masyadong
good
develop ang
handstand.
legs.
No wobbling, no stuttering.
The balance, medyo hindi ganun ka-stable ang balance niya. Kailangan niya pang i-balance talaga.
Pose through to the back end of his routine.
Sayang, oh.
There's the
Ang daming
variety with the
deductions.
half turn.
Stepping
You can
out to
see
the
his
line,
reaction on his
always.
face, although it's a clean tumble.
Yeah, clean
Again,
tumble, pero ang
just with
daming
the long deduction where
deductions.
his left foot
Stepping
stepped
outside the
outside of the floor.
lines.
And he did that on a couple of tumbles, and they do add up eventually.
Ang pangit
Certainly
ng
do.
hawakan
Confirmation
ng
of
ano
the
niya,
score on the floor is
ng
a
chalk.
13.05, so an
Pero
exceptional
okay
score
naman.
there, and that does include
Basket.
a 0.3 penalty for going out of bounds. The line judge obviously tried to use her best judgment there and decided that both feet had travelled onto the red carpet.
Di na natin mapanood yung sorry
Let's
that we
move on
cannot
to
watch
our
anymore
next
the
contestant.
ladies. And here,
Patient
standing
number
for
6,
men's all around,
with his hands
Lewis
above
Jamie
the
now
bronze
on the
medal.
first,
We've got
Cameron
Jonas
Lean, a
Rushworth
second,
of his gymnastics
Jonas Rushworth in the
silver medal
third,
position.
fourth
Currently
is
it's looking
Nathan
like
Joshua,
Cameron Leigh from West
Luke
Lothian,
5005th,
and
and
in
Michael
first place at
Goddard.
the moment,
I
with
don't
actually
know
a
who are
marked
them.
lead. It's Jamie Lewis from Woking.
Now
So
we would be
one
having
more
now
free
the
routine,
last
and the
rotation
title
of the
could well be
men's.
his. 1.25 up on her, but equally achieving a 13 on the bars is a tall order. So it
So
really
for the
is
last
gonna come
rotation
down to
now
the
of the
final routine
men's.
for the girls. And the men, it's just looking equally exciting, isn't it, Chris?
It is indeed. I mean, if I was competing on a final apparatus floor, certainly would be one of my preferred
Jay
choices.
Sharma now.
So I'd say it's advantage Jamie.
And first up, we get to see a wonderful
Ay, doon
forward
pala ako
in Jay
titingin.
Jarman.
Indeed. Olympic medalist on this apparatus.
Yes. Must be a pressure for Jake. Relax lang, Jake. Good one!
Twisting, double straight,
Stick.
so much height.
Ang ganda ng height niya, oh.
And And then the same in the tuck
Good
position.
job.
Spots that landing. Tiny hop forward.
Silang dalawa ni Luke Whitehouse ang magaling sa, sa floor.
Most gymnasts are trying on those
Sayang.
first 2 tumbles to do 2 twists.
Nagkaroon ng deductions doon.
Drake's that good, he's able to put an extra one in there for triple.
Ouch!
Oh, you could see there though.
Sakit.
They didn't quite get the landing right on that 2.5 twist.
Ayan yung kanyang
Which therefore
Hindi niya
meant
nagawa na
double
maayos
front
yung
after
kanyang
was gonna be a challenge.
Sige
And
lang,
also
Jake.
then on the balance then. Not quite too sure that was the balance he was hoping for. The turn balance obviously gives it away, therefore suggests that it should be steady, it should be safe. But there was certainly some wobbling
Awesome
on that
one, Jake.
That's better though. Triple twist down the side. There's the big breath.
Great job. Yun doon lang talaga sa napaka-push siya, under-rotated.
On that combination, tumbling pass. It
Awesome
looked
job,
like his legs
Jake.
just sort of buckled after that 2.5 twist. Therefore, unable to execute the double front after it the way that he wanted to, and perhaps unsettled him then also on the balance. But he seems happy enough.
And it will be interesting to see where that floor score puts him in the
Very good one,
apparatus
Jake.
standings as well, because we know we had Harry Hepworth, who we didn't see earlier, but he was still right up there, even with a fall, wasn't he?
He was. He had a fall on one of his tumbles, but scored I think 13.7 off the top of my head, which put him in among.
He'll hit the bands for the
Like
floor.
The coaches of Piper's Vale as well.
I'm doing this
So the
one
judges
because
are still liberating Jake's score.
forwarding the
I mean,
video
I'm not fancy
because
judging that
I
routine,
have
just
work
counting the number of
later.
twists is, needs a maths degree in
That's
itself,
why
I
we
think.
need to finish it. And I want to watch it too.
It's a complicated job, isn't it? Especially when they're doing lots of combination work and there's different bonuses that are applied. It's a difficult job, but the judges have got to take their time and make sure they get it right.
Certainly, and it does give Joshua Nathan, our next gymnast, up
Joshua Nathan now.
time to compose himself. See him there taking a couple of jumps on the floor. Again, just to get a feel for it, get rid of those last bit of nerves.
I always think the gymnasts just look like they're waking up their legs a little bit when they do that. You might have had a little bit of a wait since the warm-up, or you've been sat down maybe waiting for your turn. So let's hope his legs are awake and ready to go now.
Well, I can tell you Jake John scored 12.65
Let's go,
on
bro.
the floor. It's not the sort of score he would have wanted. But Joshua Nathan next up.
Next
and
one.
to start.
Double tack front, somersault, twisting,
Again, opting for the forward tumbles, the handspring double twist forwards.
double twisting forward. Is that double
Clean through
twisting?
that side pass there,
Sideward
sticks the
pass.
landing.
Great stick. Ouch! Ay,
There's
sayang.
2.5 twist. You can see here now on this
One whole, is it one whole point deduction too?
Starting to get tired and perhaps
Kailangan medyo bawasan yung i-control ang He must control his power. If you are
Be strong.
a lot of too much strong, sometimes you can control your power na.
That's nice though. That's the mana.
Good one. Hold in the mana position.
That's the strength and flexibility.
More. Okay, nice balance.
See there, his eyes fixed on the corner of the floor. Make sure when you're doing that balance, spot where you want to look and stay fixed there.
Good
Double tuck to
one.
finish. Joshua Nathan cleanly through
Great
his
Joshua
routines.
Nathan.
Again, didn't quite have the same
He
level,
did well.
level of difficulty as some of his apparatus, and not quite the D-value dismount at the end as well. That's some of the other gymnasts competing.
Sensya na kayo, I'm not
tell you that
that
Emily
well
Rota's beam
versed
score
or
has
for the
popped
all
her
the
up into
technicalities.
the
We're
top
just
spot.
here.
49.6
I'm just here for
now, the target
reactions.
that our gymnasts are chasing. It's kind of the magic 50 that the girls are after, and we thought it would be a score of around 50-51 that could take the title here today. So Emily finishing on at 49.6, just shy of that 50 mark, but I'm sure that'll keep her up high in the rankings.
Get another look here at Joshua Nathan's floor. That was a handspring double front, cleanly through. And then again was the second floor tumble, handspring double twist. Here's a side pass, clean landing, joins those heels together. This was the tumble here where you could see his legs just start to buckle. certainly the tiredness. Apologies, actually, this was the dismount. Small hop on landing from the double back. You can see there the gymnast deep in conversation.
Si Joshua, hindi siya kasama sa ano eh. But sa all around, Joshua Nathan, he was in the top 8.
That's the hot debrief.
Included in the top 8, Joshua Nathan.
Where the emotions all come out.
2 all-around score for Ali Elite, 13.25 earned for.
There by Luke Whitehouse, also to complete his all-around.
Look Whitehouse here.
See there's some heavy strapping on the ankles and the feet.
Oh, kaya pala na ano si Luke Whitehouse. That's why Luke Whitehouse got injured. I may say got that di na perfect yung landing kasi may injury siya sa ankle niya.
It's just a lot of force going through the body.
Absolutely.
It's very painful.
That's something that the body has to handle over a number of years and make sure that the training volumes over that period of time gradually prepare the body for some of these high impact skills that we see now, particularly as you turn into a senior as well. All that work and training and preparation, physical preparation in the gym.
I can tell you that Frank's score on the bars was 12.
Then we have here our next gymnast on the floor.
Putting her into silver medal position. A really, really outstanding performance for her there. As I think she was 5th place at the Junior British last year to step into
Other
the
are
senior
using
ranking to be slotting herself
socks
into
in
the
the
silver medal
floor,
position on her first try. That's a
but
really
or
outstanding
just
performance.
barefoot on the floor. Yeah, barefoot only.
Certainly great job indeed. We can move back to the men's competition now on the floor.
Yeah, should be barefoot because you need to stack your landing. Simon.
Came and stuck a little bit right at the start of his competition on the pommel horse, but since then he's been able
Good
to
job.
recalibrate and get himself going again. Lots
Nice
of height there,
one.
tumbling there.
That's a good tumbling and good height
Combines the
too.
full twist forward into the double front.
Nice double pike.
again.
But I
Excellent
don't
work,
know
really
if the
clean.
position is if it's well formed. Good job.
And the double twist down the side. In quite a
But I
popular
cannot
side
see
class
if there
today,
is a
I'd
leg
say.
separation or leg twisting. It's
Is that
very
an
hard.
acrobatic
Whoa!
Quite
Strong
strength
man
to hold that top planche
in the
position.
planche. Very
Right in front of the
strong.
judges as well. So they will be eagle-eyed on that.
Good one.
Continues to perform well in his routine. And then the
That's
double back
amazing.
dismount to finish cleanly through by Zion. A good,
Very
solid
clean.
routine from him, and also to finish off his competition.
Yep, some great tumbles in there. You can hear. I don't
Amazing
know if you can hear us clearly
tumble.
as we can. Some of his teammates are sat just behind us, and they were talking through that whole thing, I think.
Always good to have the support of your teammates. You can see him there just cheering to his teammates who are sat just behind us.
Yeah, there's so many gymnasts representing here from the city of Birmingham. I'm sure there is lots of support in both the crowd and on the competition floor. As we get a chance to see Soraya Pierce from Utoxeter.
And work out the maths of what he needs. I think it's around a 12.5, which is certainly doable for a gymnast of his ability and level of difficulty of his routine. Currently, Jonas Rushworth is sitting in top spot with a score of 78.85. All eyes on Jamie Lewis.
Good one, Jamie
Good,
Lewis.
solid start there, combining.
Very
Dr.
good
Weiss, the
start.
last gymnast up on this apparatus.
Wow, double pike.
Double pike somersault, very clean, lots of
Somersault.
height. Spotted the landing and the floor well.
Jamie Lewis.
And there's the double twist. And into some of his flare work. Started his competition on the
Jamie
pommel horse
Lewis. So,
where certainly one of his better apparatus. You can see there.
just to
he
tell you all
excels.
that Jamie Lewis is
He
the
transfers it
gold
over
in
to the
this
floor.
all-around finals. Sorry, I told it now.
A big breathe.
Good one, Jamie Lewis.
Very nicely. The 2.5 twist backwards immediately into the straight front forwards. That's the combination tumble. A couple of gymnasts before him came a little bit unstuck on, possibly due to some tired legs and tired bodies out there.
Jamie Lewis is one of
Prepares
the
himself for the final tumble.
contender now for all around from the Great
There
Britain.
you have it. Two
Great
somersaults
job.
with the full twist. I'm pretty sure that's enough there. And a new British champion.
Yes, new British champion. That's
Gives
Jamie
himself a round of
Lewis
applause, and
with
rightly so. What a
80.2
fantastic performance. The
scores.
pressure was really on then to deliver that routine. He's had a bit of time
Jamie
out over the
Lewis.
last couple of years, but crikey, you wouldn't think it watching that routine, would you?
Indeed. And also, I guess it's been referenced a few times, winning the English Championships a few months ago. That can certainly put you on a good path to building on that momentum, but equally, at the same time, it probably adds
Great
a
job,
little
Jamie
bit more
Lewis.
pressure as well, but he's handled himself extremely well so far today. I'm excited to see him again, and
It's good, very good to see
over
watch
the
Jamie Lewis
next
performing
few
here.
months.
Certainly showing lots of
That's
maturity
the
and composure. And you can see our gymnasts are starting to react as the final
Yeah, he's
scores
the-
are coming in.
Final scores coming
So
in now.
Ali Elite is confirmed as the senior British champion for the women for 2025.
Aliyah?
And we're
So
waiting
she-
for that final score to come
Wow,
in for Jamie Lewis,
oh.
but
Yeah,
we
a while ago.
anticipate that he's going to be taking the gold on the men's
Although
competition.
Aliyah has some, the one who's wearing that pink leotard.
Obviously
Although
very
she has
well-known
some
coach from
mistakes
Heathrow.
in
He's
the
been there for a
uneven
long
bar.
time and has had a lot of success
she is-
over the years. And his
she did
daughter,
well.
Liliana, is kind of taking the reins now. So really fantastic to see a father-daughter coaching team. And some incredible success.
Let's
here
watch
for
the-
Heathrow.
I
They
know.
took the Aspire title with Ellie Cardelli
Let
just a
us
couple of
watch
days ago.
the
And now it looks like they've taken the senior title as well. So a really, really tremendous
Aspire
championship
title
so far
and
for
senior.
Team Heathrow.
nice one.
And I think we referenced right at the start, Kate, that we presumed around 51.
Jamie Lewis, the
probably
new
would seal
British
certainly a
champion
medal,
in all around.
perhaps even the top
Last
spot,
year
and
was
only coming out there with a 52.2, so exceeded perhaps
Jay
expectations
Charman.
as well.
Yeah, no, she's had a fantastic
Good to see
performance
Jay
here today.
Charman.
Really, really faultless, to be honest. She's done some great work. And lo and behold, that score is in for Jamie Lewis. It's a 13.95. So assuming your maths was right, Chris.
So 13.95 for the
He
floor.
has indeed. That takes him into the top spot with a score of 80.2. So very
So
credible
here,
score.
top one is Jamie Lewis
Not
with
just domestically, but
80.2.
internationally as
Jonas
well.
Rushworth
Silver medal
78.850.
position,
Luke
that's
Whitehouse is
Rushworth.
at bronze medal for all
And then the
around.
bronze being picked up by Olympian
78.650.
Luke Whitehouse.
Cameron
You can see there
Lane,
all
the
smiles
fourth
on the
position,
TV screen.
78.3.
Being
Top
congratulated by his
5 is
teammates.
Adam Tobin,
Perhaps even
77.7.
himself.
Michael
This probably feels like it's been a long time coming.
Goddard,
Alan's certainly
77.4.
been
Top
there for a
7
number
is
of
Joshua
years.
Nathan,
And that transition
76.5.
from
And
junior
top
to
8 is
senior has been a
Hamish
little bit slower than others.
Carter with
He's got there in the end. Excited to see now
76.150.
how he can build on that, particularly only 3.5 years away from the LA
Awesome to see them
2028
all.
Olympics.
For sure.
Big
What a great time
congratulations
step
to
up
all
into
of
the senior
you.
ranks and make your mark with LA, as you mentioned. A few years away, he's still got time to build on those routines,
Yeah.
add some more difficulty. And you've got to think
They will
after the
do
comeback he's had
some
here
more
today, he's got to
difficult
be a great
value
contender
and
for that
a
Olympic
more
team.
good program, more difficult
Absolutely.
program.
Gymnastics, it's a tough sport. We never quite know what can happen around the corner, but for sure, he certainly set himself up well and on that trajectory. I think we've also referenced a few times the Commonwealth Games today as well, which only in Glasgow next summer, and seeing a strong competition from the home nations has been really, really important for me. I know you've mentioned and referenced a lot, Katie, of some of the Welsh gymnasts today, but I also just want to give a good shout out to Cameron Lynn from West Lothian representing Scotland, who just got picked to a medal, but he's had a brilliant competition. So again, build on that success for a home Commonwealth for him next year will be very exciting.
Yeah, that Commonwealth Games is going to be really exciting, and half the challenge is just going to be making those teams.
Congratulations to all our
We've actually got
gymnasts.
Scottish girls finishing in 4th and 6th place here as well. So Lottie Smith, who was our leader after the first round of competition, has finished off in 4th place all around, which I know is the highest score ever for her. And Christelle Lake, who was the Scottish champion just a few weeks ago, hanging on to that.
So I
6th
think
position.
they will be
So I
having
tell
an
you what,
interview
we're
with
gonna see some great
the
Commonwealth teams in 2026.
champion.
And,
Let's
our gymnasts, I
see
think,
if
very
they will be
privileged to have the
having.
opportunity to compete there. It's unfortunately a reduced
I think
size of
no.
Commonwealth
Ah,
Games
here,
this time.
here.
They
Let's
struggled to
see
find a
the Let's watch here.
Onwards, representing Leeds, Michael Goddard there with a score of 77.4. He's had a phenomenal competition today. Adam Tobin, a former British champion, in 5th position. But Jamie Lewis taking the top spot. I think now we're going to hear from our British champions.
And I'm here with our new 2025 British
hear the
all-round
British
champions.
champions
Aaliyah,
interview.
congratulations. We saw a huge sigh of relief when you finished your beam routine. You must be ecstatic with how you executed your competition.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with myself.
Yeah,
My beam
that's
routine's
good.
quite difficult, so I'm happy I stayed on. I just did it one skill at a time and it paid off.
And your overall competition,
Big
did that go
congrats.
to plan? Are you proud of yourself for how the whole subdivision went?
Yeah, I'm impressed with myself. My first 2 competitions back were really good, so I was hoping to just do the same again.
Well, congratulations, and we're joined by your coaching team, father and daughter, Vince and Liliana. Guys, you've had such an incredible week as Heathrow Gymnastics Club. What will it mean to you guys to bring all of this silverware back to your home?
We're so proud. We work with a great team of coaches. It's not just the 2 of us. And we're so proud of our gymnasts. You work really hard day in, day out, and to come here and be successful really means a lot for all of us.
Yeah, amazing.
I've been coaching for 40 years, and this is certainly a high point to have another British champion. The other one was a long time ago. So when Aaliyah came back to me in September and said, Vince, I'd like to come back out of retirement, it was a joyful day, and it's been crowned by today's performance. Well done.
And I'm joined by Jamie Lewis. Jamie, you are the
Jamie Lewis.
2025 British all-around champion.
Nice
Some
one,
of the greatest
Jamie
gymnasts
Lewis.
ever produced have had their hands on that trophy. Jamie, how excited
So we have
are
a
you?
new face of champion.
Yeah, I'm over the moon really. So yeah, I'm just really happy with my performance. A few errors here and there, but I'm happy to come away with the win. So yeah, I'm super happy.
And Jamie, what does this
Big
mean
congrats,
for your club,
Jamie
your
Lewis.
coach? This is the first all-around title Woking have won since 1996, which is an amazing achievement. What does that mean to you and everybody involved?
Wow, 1996. Whoa, not like that was a long time ago. But yeah, it's really cool to bring it home for Woking and yeah, hopefully inspire all the younger generation coming up to just let them know that they can do things like this, and yeah, just super happy to be a part of that.
Amazing, mate, and well done, Aaliyah, as well. Congratulations. It's been an incredible competition today. You have 2 new British champions. I think you guys have got to get ready for your medal ceremony. We've had an incredible day of competition. We're going to be back tomorrow at 11:20 for the Masters Finals. From me and Sydney, thank you to everybody watching. What an incredible day of gymnastics, and we're very excited for tomorrow.
Great job, great job. That's Jamie Lewis, highlights of his performance. Jonathan and Kate. Wala kasi mga teleprompter kaya nahihirapan ako paunin ang pangalan nila. Highlights for the women's artistic gymnastics. The floor of Jamie Lewis. See, a massive fly. Very, we call this one. As long as Jamie Lewis will be consistent with his work, then he can be a good champion, future champion for the coming Olympics. Thank you very much. Subscribe, like, and share.